stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
What's up, Vegas? Happy Tuesday. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could spend your morning with us. I sound like Mr. Rogers. Welcome to my neighborhood. Anyway, welcome to the show. We have a lot to get to. Oh, yeah, as we always do. Coming up here at the bottom of the hour, what is the latest on the impeachment situation? The hearings start on television tomorrow. So Amee Vanderpool from the BBC, great political reporter. She's going to be joining us coming up at the bottom of the hour. We have none other than Stretch Sanders coming in studio. The minister himself. Oh, yeah, a lot to get to with him. In Kansas City, they're getting rid of a Martin Luther King Street. They're getting rid of the name. It's just ridiculous. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Also, first black mayor has been voted in, which where is it? Montgomery. I can't even read my producer's handwriting. It's so horrible. He writes like a third grader. What does that say, JD?
It says Montgomery.
Montgomery. Okay. Seriously, his handwriting is the worst I've ever seen in my life.
No, mine's way worse.
It's pretty bad.
Way worse.
So anyway, first black mayor in Montgomery was voted in. So we'll talk to him about that and issues that are facing the African-American community. So Stretch Sanders will be joining us coming up in hour number 2. Okay, I'm really looking forward to talking to these guys. They're called the Good Liars. They are professional pranksters. What they did went viral. They went into Donald Trump, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they went into a gift shop that was selling, a bookstore, that was selling the new Don Jr. book. And it was Barnes & Noble. And they changed the cover of the Don Jr. book to something that really didn't bode very well with people that are Trump supporters. We put the actual picture up. Daddy, Please Love Me. Just totally trolling Don Jr. They also did a vigil in front of the Fox News headquarters when Bill O'Reilly was fired. These guys are professional pranksters. They're really funny. They're very ballsy. They also went into the Trump Tower and in the gift shop where they sell all these Trump T-shirts. They replaced some of the shirts with white T-shirts. Basically what they were Klan T-shirts. They put those in the Trump with Trump's name on it. Some people might find that disrespectful. I actually find it very funny. So these guys, again, they're professional pranksters, and what they did with this Don Jr. book went viral. So they're going to be coming up in hour number 3. Also, some very interesting Stormy Daniels audio. I'll explain what that is. We'll get to that. We've got a great giveaway. If you want a 2-hour open bar, we're going to give that away at some point during the show. We'll explain. We'll talk about that. And, of course, we're going to have to preview UNLV on the road against Cal tonight. So, wow, a lot to get to. I want to start where sports transcends to politics, and I'm actually going to take the side of a gentleman by the name of Don Cherry. Don Cherry is a legend in the broadcasting business as far as the NHL. He's a Canadian sports broadcaster, and he was forced to step down after making some remarks about immigration. Now, when I first heard this story, I said, oh, boy, he must have said something Trumpish. He must have said something really bad, okay? No, I actually don't think it was really bad. We have some audio, but before we play it, I want to quote exactly what he said and why he had to step down. Hockey Night in Canada personality stepped down because of, as I said, divisive remarks. So what he said was he was talking about these pins that people are wearing. They're called poppy pins, red poppy pins, to honor the Canadian soldiers for Remembrance Day. And he said, quote, "You people, you love our way of life. You love our milk and honey. At least you can pay a couple bucks for a poppy or something like that." He went on to say, these guys paid for your way of life that you enjoy in Canada. These guys paid the biggest price. I got to tell you something. I don't disagree with this guy. And we talk about this all the time. At least I have. I'm going to use Canelo Alvarez as an example. Now, I have never said anything egregious like, Canelo, go back to your country, or something that Trump would say. I've never talked like that. However, I have said Canelo has made hundreds of millions of dollars in Las Vegas, and he doesn't speak a lick of English. He doesn't make any effort. In the press conferences, he has to have an interpreter. To the American media, nobody knows what he's saying unless you speak Spanish. Completely ridiculous. And I'm going to say right now, my opinion when it comes to that stuff is very similar to this guy, Don Cherry. Look, all he's really saying is You come to our. He's not even really saying. He's not saying illegals go back to your country or anything like that. He's just saying, look, man, wear this red poppy pin. Spend a couple hours. Is that so egregious? You're forced to be fired, to step down. You're telling people you come into this country, just give us a little bit of respect. The soldiers that risked their lives for your freedom. I understand what Don Cherry was saying. So here's Don Cherry in his own words. Keep in mind, by the way, this is after he was forced to step down. He did an interview. He is not backing down from what he said. Here's Don Cherry in his own words.
I was talking to a veteran. I said, I'm not going to run the poppy thing anymore because what's the sense? I live in Mississauga. Nobody wears, very few people wear a poppy. Downtown Toronto, forget it, downtown Toronto. Nobody wears a poppy. And I'm not going to. He says, wait a minute. How about running it for the people that buy them? Now, you go to the small cities, and those, the rows on rows, you people love, you that come here, whatever it is, you love our way of life, you love our milk and honey. At least you could pay a couple of bucks for poppies or something like that. These guys pay for your way of life that you enjoy in Canada. These guys paid the biggest price. Anyhow, I'm going to run it again for you great people and good Canadians that bought a poppy. I'm still going to run it anyhow.
Love you for it.
I agree with him, and I cannot believe that he was forced to step down because of those comments. JD, what do you think about this?
Well, the issue is he said, you people. You people is why he was asked to step down, Brian. Everything else and honestly, I think it's over the top. And this is an example of just being fired for your organization being afraid you're going to offend people and then firing you because of it. And that's basically what happened here. Now, granted, he's towards the end of his career. There could be something to that. There could be an excuse that someone just wanted him out. But if he didn't say you people, and again, I think it's ridiculous, but if he didn't say you people, he would not be fired, in my opinion.
And I agree that maybe his choice of words, maybe he could have spoken a little bit.
Oh, come on. The guy's, 75 years old?
I agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, I understand where he's coming from.
100%. Absolutely.
And if you're wondering what these red poppies are, it was the native plant along the Western Front during World War I. That's according to the Canadian War Museum's website. And basically, what he's saying, and I hate to, and I think it speaks for itself. Listen, just spend a couple dollars and wear this thing. Show your respect on a day where everybody should be showing respect. And, of course, Sportsnet, these big companies, these huge companies are, of course, going to be cowards because Sportsnet is saying it doesn't represent our values.
Exactly.
Well,
it's kind of like Levitard on ESPN when he kind of had that little political rant. And then they said, "Oh no, no one at ESPN can ever talk politics again." Remember that happened about 3 months ago.
I do.
If something like, do you think that if a sport like say Skip Bayless at FS1, if he said something like that, do you think you'd be fired in the United States?
No,
absolutely not. Now, why do you think that Don Cherry was fired?
I think he'd face a lot of criticism.
A little bit of scrutiny, but he wouldn't be asked to step down.
I don't think so, but I'm not going to say 100%. If he said you people, and then he talked, because there's a lot of people that hate Skip Bayless. I think there is a chance, JD, that he could. I understand what you're saying. Maybe more scrutiny in Canada, and maybe a little bit more sensitivity. But
do you think he would get backlash? Say he said it on the show with Shannon Sharpe. Do you think he would get backlash from Shannon Sharpe?
Listen, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. What I do know is I'm taking this guy's side on this one.
Yeah, of course.
There is a fine line between some of the rhetoric on the right. For example, some of the stuff that the president has said, these Mexicans entering our country illegally, they're rapists, they're bad people, and I suppose some of them are good people. That remark right there is 40 times worse than anything that this guy said in this statement, and he was forced to step down. Certainly the president's not going to step down.
And it's interesting because Justin Trudeau, he wears blackface, but then he gets reelected as a prime minister of Canada. So that's kind of a hypocritical situation there.
Yeah, different circumstance. And, of course, it's something that happened many, many years ago with the blackface. It's not like he did it yesterday and then he was elected. Different circumstance. Again, I am on this guy's side on this. I think there are certain situations where it's over the line, over the top, and you shouldn't say it, but I'm going to take this guy's side on this one, and I'm also going to open up the phone lines. What do you guys think out there? Do you think this Canadian sports broadcaster, by the way, he's been doing this for 50 years. This isn't his first rodeo. John Cherry was forced to step down because of those remarks. I am going to open up the phone lines, 702-257-5396. Again, that number if you want to be a part of the program, 702-257-5396. I am taking this man's side on this one. I do not believe he deserved to be fired, or in this case, step down. To me, it's the exact same thing. I think there are certain things, certain instances where you shouldn't cross the line. When you call Mexicans rapists, and when you make it like every single illegal in this country is going to break into your home and steal your child and, murder somebody, I think that's over the line, and that's wrong. I don't like the demonizing of illegals, but at the same time, I am taking this man's side.
By the way, this guy he's not 75. He is 85 years old. He's done this for 50 years. Hockey is the main sport. Hockey is the main sport in Canada, and he is getting shown the door in a very, very negative way. I have a big problem with this over saying you people.
Well, he shouldn't have said you people, but again, we're opening up the phone lines.
The guy's 85 years old, Brian. He's gonna have slips.
Well, like I said, I'm defending him. I'm on his side. I don't think he deserved to have to step down because of these comments. At the same time, you have to be careful with the words that you choose. Again, there are many people on the right, whether it's a nationally syndicated talk show host on the right or whether it's the president of the United States. Many of these people, not all, but many of them, because they want to build a wall and because they want to crack down on illegal immigration, they attack illegals that enter this country and make them out to be horrendous people, murderers, rapists, when the facts just don't add up. The stats don't add up to that, and they're not being truthful. That is where I side with these illegal immigrants that are here. I don't want everybody to demonize these people. At the same time, show us a little bit of respect. I am not for illegals with driver's licenses. I think that's ridiculous. I do not agree that an illegal should have a credit card. I think that is ridiculous. And I think it is an issue that if you're an illegal in this country that, you get free health care. You walk into a hospital, you don't have money to pay the bill. The laws are, we still have to take care of some of, and I'm going to use the term, these people or these illegals. We are the United States of America. We should help people, whether they're illegal or not. But we have to work out some sort of deal here with these people. These people. See, I'm using the term these people.
Wow. It's done. We're done, Brian.
Yeah, we're done.
The show's over.
Going to be forced to resign. Me and Don Cherry are going to be hanging out at a bar saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't have said these people.
That's where Canada is right now.
Yeah.
And the United States could get to that point, I believe, if the wrong Democrat is elected president of the United States in 2020.
I don't think a Democrat is listen, have some intelligence here. Don't say something that is over the top. Don't call Mexicans rapists like our commander-in-chief has done. Let's open up the phone lines. Again, 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Let's start off this segment with Kevin. Kevin, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind, Kevin?
What's up, Kevin?
Hey, guys. Hey, I'm just, I'm on the side of it. I'm glad he got fired. It's a good thing because the thing of it is you guys keep on wanting to blur the lines or float, we should be able to get away with this political correctness, say whatever you want.
I didn't say that.
Old man.
No, we never said that.
Smart mouth, and he finally let his true colors come out.
Okay, Kevin, hold on a second. Kevin, didn't I just talk about Donald Trump and the hateful rhetoric on the right, and didn't I say there's things that you shouldn't say to cross the line? I didn't say you could say whatever you want. I don't know where you're getting that from. In fact,
No, but I'm not even here to debate with you. I'm just saying I'm glad he got fired. Every last person that wants to pop off at the mouth and say certain things about people or people of a different.
All right, well, let me ask you a question then. Okay, Kevin, fair enough. Let me ask you a question then. I've gone after Canelo Alvarez for this reason. He's a fantastic fighter, and I am a boxing fan. He comes into the United States of America, can't speak one lick of English. He's made hundreds of millions of dollars, can't speak English to the American press, yet many Americans spend a lot of money on his fights, pay-per-view, and tickets to his fights. Are you okay? Do you think I should be fired for saying Canelo Alvarez is disrespecting the United States of America and he should get a tutor and learn some damn English?
I don't think you should be fired, but your opinion, that's your opinion.
Do you think I'm wrong?
But what the old man said, you already know. It's dog whistle for white people in the hockey industry, those you people and all this other crap. You guys need to stop trying to blur the line, okay? If you don't want a decent country, then cut loose, man.
When did I say I wanted to cut loose? I'm not. I love the United States of America. I ain't going anywhere.
Okay,
I don't know.
Then act like there's some decency left in us, and understand if you don't like the immigrant ways of doing, then vote or try to make a change. But you don't sit up here and just dog whistle.
What do you mean dog whistle?
Go back to your country. No, look.
I don't understand.
All I'm trying to say is that I'm glad the old man got canned. He deserved it. He was a racist in hiding for years already. You already know it. You guys.
What has he said that would lead you to believe? All right. Well, hold on, Kevin. Kevin, hold on a second. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But what has he said that you would consider racist?
You people.
So 50 years. Okay, so hold on, Kevin.
You need to support the
Kevin,
truth.
50 years.
You
50
do whatever
years.
the hell you want. This old man ain't the moral conscience of America.
I didn't say he doesn't live.
Where
did I say I was the moral conscience of America? You're making so many generalizations about me. I know you're just saying. I have an opinion. Excuse me. I have an opinion and you have an opinion. Where did I say that you were the moral conscience? What you make so many generalizations about me and the show. Let me tell you something. Hold on.
People over the radio that get behind us. I spend millions of dollars.
Where did I say? What?
You don't buy a man.
Get behind who? What are you talking about?
Just because you pay his bills.
All right, Kevin, I appreciate the call. By the way, Don Cherry, you obviously know nothing about his career, okay? Don Cherry has been on the air for 50 years. You want to call, and listen, I call people racist all the time. I believe I have reason to back that up. You're going to call Don Cherry a racist, a man who's been on the air for 50 years, because he said the comment, you people, and you're going to attune that to being a racist? I think you're wrong. With all due respect.
I think that's actually dangerous.
702.
I think it's dangerous for the United States of America when you can get fired for saying you people.
Well, I think that's a little egregious.
Egregious?
Yes. Let's take
It's completely over the top, especially if you've been in the game for 50 years and done it at a high level.
Number to call, 702-257-5396. Again, 257-5396. Let's go to Steven. Steven, you're next. What's up?
What's up, Steven?
Hey, good morning, JD and Brian.
Good morning. What do you think about this?
Well, JD's right on point. It's very, very dangerous. American people that are coming to this country, and Americans, that's the main problem, are not being told or explained the contract with America, which is the Constitution, and the First Amendment being the number one amendment, being more important than even the right to own guns, is the right to freedom of speech. So let's give it away because we don't like what they say.
Well, hold on a second. Okay, I get what you're saying. And as I've said, along with JD, is I don't agree with this guy being forced to resign, okay? So we all agree on that. However, I would hope that you would agree, Stephen. You can't just go on the air and, for example, say the N-word. You can't just go on the air and say something completely egregious. Like if this guy said what Donald Trump said, for example, you illegals, get out of this country, they're rapists. You would agree. If you say something like that, it's irresponsible and you deserve to be fired. Can we at least agree on that?
Can I respond to that? Because I think that's an excellent point, Brian.
Go ahead, Stephen.
And I'd like to maybe have 2 or 3 sentences so I get the complete thought out.
Go ahead.
I'll bet in the last 6 months, I'll bet I've heard the N-word used over 1,000 times by black people.
And that doesn't make it right.
I didn't ask for an interruption. I've never heard it used by a white person. But in that scenario, had the white person ever used it? The last time I saw it was a couple of years ago.
So if
it was a big fight.
All right.
So how come these people can use that word? As that
I understand, Stephen. I understand, Stephen. I appreciate the call.
People can't.
Okay, well, Stephen, we're gonna talk about that next segment, or I should say in the 10 a.m. hour with Stretch Sanders. But let me respond quickly with what he just said. Okay, if you are a white person or an African American and you are on television, because that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the everyday person walking down the street. And by the way, for the record, I've said it a gazillion times. The N-word shouldn't be used anywhere. Period. But if an African American was on television, a broadcaster, and use the N-word to describe maybe an athlete, he would be fired. Hands down.
Yeah, he would be. Absolutely.
257-5396. Let's go to Mike. Mike, you're next on the Vegas Take. What do you think about this?
What's up, Mike?
Good morning, Vegas Takers. Well, number one, they're going to get rid of a legend. And I don't know much about hockey, but I know my son has hockey card books with the albums have Don Cherry all over it. I mean, this guy's a legend. He's like a walking library.
Mm-hmm.
If they get rid of him, it's just more corporate madness out. Corporations gone wild. But a lot of people don't. But I want you to do me a favor real quick, Brian. Break down the complaint against Don. I didn't catch the full complaint.
Sure. I'll give it to you real quick, Mike, and I appreciate the call again. He said, you people, you love our way of life. You love our milk and honey. At least you can pay a couple bucks for a poppy or something like that. These guys paid for your way of life that you enjoy in Canada. These guys paid the biggest price. Sportsnet, which employs him, says that this does not represent our values. He was forced to resign. 257-5396. Let's go to Mark. Mark, you are next on the Vegas Take. What do you think about all this?
Hey, guys, I just kind of wanted to remind you that Don Cherry has not been without controversy prior to this, so I think it's been kind of a slow burn. You know, he's had some racial tinge things come out of his mouth through the years. I mean, he is a legend. He's got great suits and ties, but he's not been without controversy. So I would suspect that most of this had just been building to this point. They finally had to cut ties.
Mark, could I ask you, because you might be right, I'm not aware, can you give me another example of something controversial that he did or said that you can share with the audience?
I apologize, Brian. I'm driving, so I can't Google it. But I think if you guys did a quick search, you'd find a few things he had possibly even been suspended for, even within like the last 2-3 years. So, like,
all right. Well, listen, Mark.
Slow burn,
that could certainly change my opinion if you're right. I'm just simply unaware of it. I'm not saying you're wrong. I will do my due diligence and I will look that up. And if I find something in his past, and then it leads up to this, then maybe it'll change my opinion. Let's try to squeeze in
a pattern of behavior typically. Now, what if he said this group of people instead of these people? Would that change?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
What if he said this group of people or that group of people instead of these people? Because what's the difference between those two statements?
Well, look, if you said it like this, if he said, listen, immigrants or illegals that come into this country that love Canada, let me just finish that love Canada or the United States of America, I believe that they should wear these pins on this very special day, because I think it shows respect for this country and for those men and women and those brave soldiers. I think if he said it like that, he would not have been forced to resign. He didn't. He didn't speak as eloquently as he could have. If he has a past, then that'll change my opinion. But right now, my opinion is that he should not have been forced to resign. 257-5396. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff, you're next on the Vegas Take. What do you think about all this? Uh-oh. Well, Jeff obviously thinks that he should resign. I think that's what he said in that phone call.
Yeah, very, very clearly.
Yeah. But, like I said, this is a situation where Don Cherry probably did not speak as eloquently as he could have. And it's unfortunate because the guy's been doing it for 50 years. And you would think that somebody that is a broadcaster for 50 years, if he really, truly is a racist, it would have come out. So our producer, Jason Stein, is in studio now. Jason, what do you got for us?
Well, that last caller referenced some past controversies with Don Cherry, and I did a quick Google search, and I did find that he does have a pretty checkered past. 2007, he talked about the indigenous community, and let's see, I'm reading this on the fly. He says, talks about women at hockey games. When you come to the games, keep your eyes on the puck. I'm telling you, I've seen some awful smacks. And it's always
what's wrong with that?
It's always a woman yapping away. Look at the game, Cherry said. In 2010,
hold on.
He used the term left-wing pinkos in 2010.
Left-wing pinkos. I don't even know what that means.
As far as I'm concerned, you can put that in your pipe, you left-wing kooks.
Okay, so this is a guy that...
That's a quote.
Okay, so this is a guy that has said some political comments that people do not agree with. As far as the female comment that he made, just as there could be a woman yapping, there could also be a man yapping. I don't understand. I don't understand his reference there. It seems like he has some extreme views, and maybe he doesn't really speak them. People don't like some of the things he has to say. He said some controversial things.
He says, the one things I'm really disgusted with, a bunch of pukes that fought before. Name some names here. Oh, the reason that they're drinking drugs and alcoholics is because they fight. You turncoats, you hypocrites. So it's a guy who pushes the envelope.
Yeah,
but
he has strong opinions in one direction, but I don't think that, as Kevin so eloquently stated, makes him a closet racist who needs to be fired at the age of 85 after working 50 years as a sportscaster. I mean,
let me be clear here.
The way that they fired him, I mean, it's total betrayal. They turned him into a scapegoat. You want to let him go because he's getting old, fine, but don't do it this way.
If you've been on the air for 50 years, and that is the biggest checkered past that you have, I'd say you're a pretty decent guy and you're probably pretty professional on the radio, okay? I know people that have been on the air a week that have said far more egregious things than
unless
that.
This is the tip of the iceberg. What if in his private life he's far worse? This is just the stuff he said
I don't care about
on TV.
Listen, as long as we don't know about it in his private life, I don't care if he's cheated on 1,000 women. It's not against the law. The bottom line is I care about the way he conducts himself when he's on the air and when he's working. Not to be said that if you don't attack a police officer when you're not working, or if you don't assault somebody that you shouldn't be fired, you should. But I'm talking about the things he says when he's in the workplace.
Would you endorse Don Cherry for Prime Minister of Canada?
Absolutely not. I wouldn't endorse him.
You wouldn't? Okay.
No,
you know what?
not.
You bring up a point. Our colleague Brian Kilmeade before this show, real quick, his point was, look, the Prime Minister of Canada wore blackface. He was caught wearing blackface years ago. Mm-hmm. And he's the leader of the whole country.
Yep.
Don Cherry says "you people," and he loses his job after 50 years.
Well,
so
it's a valid point.
There is a double standard, perhaps.
It's a valid point. Maybe we could get Don Cherry on the show, and maybe you could talk about women yapping at hockey games. That'd be a lot of fun. All right, thanks, Jason. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, do you want the latest on what is going on with the impeachment hearings? They are going to be televised tomorrow. It reminds me of the OJ trial. Must-see TV, right? We'll get to that coming up next with Amee Vanderpool, a reporter for the BBC. Coming up next, you're listening to The Vegas Take, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
Ahead of public impeachment inquiry hearings which get underway tomorrow, acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney says he will not appear, but in his words, rely on the direction of President Trump and won't cooperate with the impeachment proceedings. Correspondent Phil Mattingly.
I think there's just an unusual recognition across party lines of the gravity of the moment. Look, we've seen hearings over the course of the last couple of years spin into partisan circuses, turn into YouTube-made moments for campaigns. This is not that.
The Supreme Court has dealt a blow to the firearms industry, rejecting Remington Arms Company's bid to escape a lawsuit by families of victims aiming to hold the gunmaker liable for its marketing of the assault-style weapon used in the 2012 Sandy Hook school massacre that killed 26 people. Also, the court heard arguments contending that the way President Trump ended the DACA program did not follow legal requirements. I'm Evan Haining.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by your Southern Nevada Chevy dealer. Watch for slowing for the crash I-15 northbound at Tropicana. Also an accident on I-15 southbound at Washington. And on the surface streets, a hit-and-run accident investigation underway. Desert Inn Road west of Boulder Highway. Watch for police presence in the area. Also a crash injury sustained reported Flamingo westbound at the 95. Fall in love with a new Chevy during the Black Friday sales event. Head to a Southern Nevada Chevy dealer and get a great deal all month long on select Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs. Chevrolet. Find new roads. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up, and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Parents, you always say you want what's best for your children. If that's the case, then you should be bringing your kid to Infinity, the Math Institute, where every student earns an A or B in math. Our results are proven and they are amazing. The best tutoring service for the best price, whether online or in person, small group or one-on-one. You cannot get better results. Great grades will come when your child truly understands the math. From elementary math to calculus, we have the best tutors, the best materials, and the best results. Now offering free parent seminars on how to better help your child, what is Common Core, and more. Find out why parents are bragging and students are enjoying school again by calling 702-768-1777. That's 702-768-1777 or visit themathinstitute.com today. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you, because at Infinity, you don't get more math problems, you get solutions.
Right now, Doctors Without Borders medical teams are operating in some of the most remote and dangerous corners of the world. When front yards become front lines, at the crossroads of conflict and epidemic, where there are no hospitals, that's where we operate. Your response is critical to our response in places where few others will go. That's where we operate. Learn more at doctorswithoutborders.org.
Here's the latest from Newsmax. President Trump is surging in the polls, but Pelosi and Schiff still want to impeach him. What's really their agenda? Find out tonight on Newsmax TV's special Exposing the Witch Hunt Against Trump. See Pat Buchanan, Michelle Malkin, Bill O'Reilly, Alan Dershowitz, and more. Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on Newsmax TV. Newsmax TV is on DirecTV, Xfinity, Dish, Spectrum, Fios, Optimum, Uverse, Suddenlink, and more. Check your channel guide. Newsmax TV is real news for real people.
Hey, it's Lee Goldberg of the GCI Guys at Realty One Group. Do you know anyone that's looking to buy a home, sell a home, rent, move from California? If so, give them my number, 702-902-3029. All listeners of the Vegas Take get $1,000 in your hand back at closing. Hometown heroes, veteran, military, police, teacher, nurse, I'm giving you $2,000 back. That also goes for hospitality and casino employees. Free use of a moving truck for a day, 6 free months of home security. Call me, 702-902-3029, the GCI Guys.
Brought to you by Yes Air Conditioning and Plumbing, growing along with Las Vegas and now hiring great HVAC technicians and plumbers. Apply to join the Yes team at theyesmancan.com. License numbers 71233 and 71246.
Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. By the way, coming up next hour, the minister himself, Stretch Sanders, will be joining us. Ask him what he thinks about this new homeless ordinance in Las Vegas. And first black mayor has been voted in a city here in the United States of America. We will talk a little bit about that. And the MLK sign forced to be taken down, street sign, I should say, in one area in KC. So we will talk a little bit about that with Stretch coming up here in hour number 2. But it's always a pleasure to have with us. She is a reporter for the BBC, a contributor to the BBC and Playboy magazine, also does a great job writing her own articles as a political commentator for Shapiro. Amee Vanderpool joining us right now on the line. Amee, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. I appreciate you coming on as always, Amee. I want to start off with this because I have strong opinions on it, as I know you do. The comments of Nicki Haley. So as you know, she is trying to sell a book. I believe she wants to run for office. I believe she wants to continue her political career. And she has made some interesting comments doing the rounds on some TV shows over the last few days. She said that she had no doubt about Trump's fitness to serve, his mental capacity. She also said that he is truthful, which is beyond incredible to me based on all the lies Trump and his administration have put forth in the last several years. What do you make of Nikki Haley's comments, and why is she saying these things? She's not a stupid woman. Why is she saying these things?
No. Well, she's not truthful, and we now know that because those aren't accurate statements. And I think she's doing it because she wants to sell a book, and she is banking on, Trump supporters to buy her book. And the Christian right turns out in mass numbers to buy books anyway. I'm not convinced they read, but they buy books. They buy books in big numbers so that their people get pushed to the number one on everything, and then they go and return a few of them like the next day. It's a whole thing they do. So she is bucking to have that book hit number one, and she thinks that her most bankable outlet is the Trump supporting background. And she may be right, because I'm not sure what the true landscape of the GOP is anymore. I don't think that, the people who were Republican who don't support Trump, it feels like they've sort of left, and they're calling themselves independents and libertarians now. So she may have calculated that correctly. I think that if she's going to run for office, she's banking on the same group, voting her into office as well. I personally think she's sort of, killing her chances of getting elected by doing this, but she's going to make some money on this book, so good for her.
Yeah, that is true. She certainly is going to make some money. I want to talk a little bit about Stephen Miller, the White House advisor. A lot of people over the last several years have said a lot of things about Stephen Miller. Racist immigration policies, for one, pushing a nationalist agenda. So now there's a story out that says that in the run-up to the 2016 election, Stephen Miller promoted white nationalist literature. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, he not only did that, first of all, if you want to take a look at the story, if you follow me on my Twitter feed, I just retweeted it. It's the Southern Poverty Law Center who has done the story, and they have a grouping of emails from Miller that show that he was not only pushing racist propaganda leading up to the 2016 election, but that he was pushing other white nationalist narratives. After the Confederate statues were taken down, and after, I can't remember the guy's name, but after one of the white nationalists, was arrested for what he did, he was in support of that. So, I mean, anybody who's been watching the actions of Stephen Miller and who understands that all of Trump's racist immigration policies are created by Stephen Miller, essentially, knows that this is who he is, that he's a white nationalist and that he's racist. This just sort of confirms what we've already seen. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's racist.
So I want to talk to you a little bit more about immigration here. We haven't talked a lot about that with you. And then I want to get to the impeachment stuff and the hearings tomorrow because you do such a great job in laying that out. So I certainly want to get to that. But let me ask you an immigration question first. I believe there needs to be a pathway, some sort of pathway to citizenship. I don't think the wall was ever a good idea. With that being said, I think if you're an illegal in this country, if you're not a felon, I want you to stay here. I want your family to stay here. There needs to be some sort of pathway. But with that being said, I do not believe if you're an illegal immigrant, you should be allowed to get a driver's license. I don't believe if you're an illegal immigrant, you should be allowed to get a credit card. I think these are issues here. Now, there are some people on the left that are okay with that. I'm not. And I'm not on the left or the right. I just think if you're not paying taxes and you're in this country illegally and you're not willing to make any effort to go about it in trying to become legal, why should we give you a driver's license, and why, should you get free health care, and why should you be getting a credit card? To me, I'm just not okay with that. I think it's an extreme view on the left, and I don't think it's going to help get Donald Trump out of office.
Well, so there was a Supreme Court ruling many years ago that stated that children of parents who had a legal status were entitled to a free public education. And if children were in fact illegal themselves, they were still entitled to a free public education, because the value of the education and the necessity to make sure these kids were in school far outweighed the cost or any arguments against. So immigrants are entitled to an education in our country. And if you sort of extend that concept, that principle to people, it's important for people who are contributing in our society, even if they're illegal, to be able to pay taxes, because you have to keep in mind that they are paying taxes. There is a sales tax on everything they buy. They are paying into the system. And that illegal immigrants are less likely to commit violent crimes than a lot of people think. So if we're trying to make sure that people are contributing and they're paying money into the system, the best way to do that is to make sure that they're healthy, that they have access to jobs, that they have access to driver's licenses, so that they can get to jobs, so they can make money, so that they can pay back into the system and be contributing members of our society.
And I understand what you're saying. I don't necessarily disagree with you with everything you said there. My point being is that there are plenty of Americans that are not allowed to get credit cards. Maybe their credit score isn't very good. There are some Americans out there that struggle to get a driver's license for whatever reason.
Right. But illegal immigrants aren't taking away a credit card out of the hand of an American by they themselves having that credit card. It's not like there's one credit card for two people and the illegal immigrant got it. Everybody should be assessed by their worthiness equally, and if they qualify, they qualify. And moreover, immigrants having driver's licenses don't affect anyone else. Americans having driver's license. Again, it doesn't take one out of your hand to give an immigrant a driver's license.
What about an immigrant having a driver's license but without insurance?
Well, no one should. That's illegal for Americans as well. That should be illegal for everyone.
Sure. I think we all agree on that. So, again, if you're just joining us, by the way, we're speaking with Amee Vanderpool, a contributor to the BBC, Playboy Magazine political reporter. Okay, so, listen, I think we agree on some things. Maybe we disagree on others. I just think we need to find a way for these people to get some sort of pathway to citizenship, and that way we wouldn't have to worry about these issues. And then, people could get credit cards. They could get driver's licenses. Why? Because they're legal. Let's find a way for the good people. And, yes, I think the majority of illegals that enter this country are good people. I'm not going to take the Donald Trump route or the extreme right route and demonize all these people. And I talk about this on the show every day. The majority of these people are not bad people just because they crossed the border illegally. And I'm very passionate with those opinions. Republicans and Democrats need to come together. illegal immigration is a problem in this country, but let's fix the problem and let's find the good people. If you are a felon, get the hell out of here as far as I'm concerned. But if you are a good person who's never committed a violent crime, never committed a felony, I want you and your family to get some sort of pathway to citizenship. That way, you get whatever you want. Get 30 credit cards. Get 30 driver's licenses. You know, I mean, that'd be a pretty big family. But you understand, you understand what I'm saying, Amy, right?
A large family. That's true.
Sure. Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I agree. You know, I agree that there needs to be a pathway to citizenship. The immigration issue is so complicated. It's so incredibly complicated. There's a great documentary called The Senator's Bargain. Everyone should watch it. It details, the last 30 years of this whole issue and why it is such a problem and why it's so complicated. I mean, before you even get to the partisanship arguments on either side, why it's really hard to fix and why there are so many problems and why it's going to cost so much. So I agree. We already have a lot to fix with regard to the border without putting people in cages and without getting to the human rights violations,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I agree with you. It's just very complicated, and Trump is not handling it well.
No, he's not. We agree on that.
So, Amy, we had a spirited debate about a Canadian sportscaster named Don Cherry, who was just let go after 50 years yesterday for a comment that he made. He said these people or you people on television, and he was fired from his job. Do you think that he should have been fired for making that statement?
Wow, Canada's not playing, huh?
No.
Do I think he should have been fired? I don't know. I haven't heard it, and I don't. So it's hard to tell the exact, intonation and the context of it.
Yeah, no, totally understandable. Go ahead.
But here's the thing, though. If you take a man who's done a job for 50 years, and I'm going to assume he does his job very well because he's had it for so long,
he does.
I'm going to assume he's a beloved kind of guy in his field, right?
Sure.
For just saying you people, I don't know. Were there other things attached to it? Was it a series of things leading up to it where they were like, okay, enough because that's too much? Or was it this isolated incident where he misspoke and didn't? What was his intention? I need a lot more background to that.
Yeah.
If it was just that isolated incident and he was speaking quickly and he misspoke and he wasn't thinking about what he said, and then he went on to issue a retraction and say, it was wrong, and he realized why it was wrong, then that does seem kind of harsh.
Yeah, we did an entire segment on that last segment. Some people agree.
Did he apologize?
No, he actually doubled down on his comments. So it is what it is.
There you go.
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think he should have been forced to resign because he's been doing it for 50 years. I kind of on his side on this one. I think there's a fine line when you say you people. Maybe he wasn't eloquent, but it's a fine line between that. And I made the point of the things that Donald Trump says, calling Mexicans rapists and bad people, and I suppose some of them are good people. There's a fine line with the things you say, and we need to show a distinction between that. Donald Trump says egregious things. Yeah, go ahead.
But if you're going to double down on it, if you're going to double down on the statement,
he didn't apologize.
Then you're essentially right. Well, yeah, and you're admitting that you didn't make a mistake, you didn't misspeak, and that you meant exactly what you said, and that is problematic.
I think the point he was trying to make, I agree with. I think the way he said it was wrong, and I agree with you. He shouldn't have said "you people" because I think that could be construed as a racist term. All right, I want to talk about the impeachment process because Amy, you do such a good job in laying it all out for us on social media. Okay, so the hearings are on television tomorrow. I've kind of compared this to the O.J. Simpson trial where we had cameras in the courtroom and people on their lunch break.
I hope we're going to have a better result, though, Brian. I hope we're going to have a better result on this.
Trust me, I'm not an O.J. defender. Maybe he's listening since he lives a couple miles from the studios here. But listen, I just compare it to the fact that this is must-see TV, right? I mean, it really is. Yeah. So can you give people a rundown on what you expect tomorrow? Who is going to be testifying first? Who's going to be up there tomorrow? When does it start? I would imagine we'll be watching it on every single national network, right?
Right, we will. And you can also follow my Twitter feed because I'm going to be live tweeting everything. A lot of people are going to be at work or, a lot of people are fed up and they can't handle. I can't understand that, but they can't even tune in because they get so stressed out. So if that's a situation for you, but you sort of want to know the big points in a sarcastic tone and you want to be able to laugh about it, then you want to follow my Twitter feed because I'll keep you updated. But what we're going to see tomorrow is we're going to hear testimony from former Ambassador Bill Taylor. And that's going to be juicy because Taylor was the first one to come out and say flat out, Trump did, in fact, enact a quid pro quo, and here's my proof. So Bill Taylor has a lot of details. He has a lot of details about conversations with Tim Morrison, who basically relayed all of the information that proves the quid pro quo. He has a lot of information about other details leading up to the events that prove that, in fact, it was an intentional quid pro quo. You know, Taylor is really damning to Sondland's testimony as well. And Sondland could be in a little trouble because, you know, he was skirting a lot of issues. So it's going to be interesting to see what he says. The other thing about Taylor that's interesting is he is a long-time ambassador, and he is very, very credible and reputable.
Sure.
And he's very well respected on both sides of the aisle. He's considered to be the top of his game in what he does. So, you know, I'm interested to see how Republicans treat him, if they go after him and go for the jugular because he's so well respected.
Yep.
The other guy we're going to see tomorrow is George Kent. He's kind of flown under the radar. Now, he's important because he seems to be involved in every little conversation that happens with Bolton, with all these side players. You know, they're like, oh, we talked to George Kent. Oh, we talked to George Kent. So he's going to have some interesting information as well. It won't be as juicy as Bill Taylor's, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good additional meaty information, right?
Yep.
And then on Friday, we're going to get to Ambassador Yovanovitch. Now that's going to be good. Because what that's going to be so good because she's going to essentially talk from a more emotional place of what it felt like to be literally caught in the middle of this because she was the former ambassador to Ukraine that Trump called home when it was clear she wasn't going to play ball and she became a liability, right? And the other thing about Yovanovitch is she has an impeccable reputation and there was absolutely no reason for her to be fired. And all of her colleagues said so, but nobody would back her up. So she's going to be giving testimony about how the State Department was completely in bed with Trump on all of this. Nobody had her back. Nobody was willing to stand up. And several people said to her, hey, if you want to fix this, you need to start, you need to start fawning all over Trump. So it's going to be really dramatic and juicy. Yeah.
Thank you for laying that out for us. Again, if you're just joining us, Amee Vanderpool, a contributor to the BBC, also Playboy Magazine, and writes her own articles there at Shapiro, does a great job. Okay, so Amee, obviously you and I agree. We believe that this is an impeachable offense. I've been saying that since day one.
Well, I don't know yet. I'm not willing to say it because I haven't seen the evidence. I want to see what the House comes down. I want to see what the charges are, how many charges and how many counts there are, and what they claim their evidence is to back it up. Do I think there was a quid pro quo? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are they, but I need to see what the charges are before I say
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think what we already know, I've already made my opinion. Certainly, I'd like to have more information, but what's out right now, my opinion is he absolutely should be impeached for this. Now, so there's not a lot of fun in agreeing with people. So, JD, I know you've disagreed with me on this one. You do not believe, JD, that this is an impeachable offense based on the information that we know now. Explain to Amee why you feel that way.
I have a hard time discerning between this and negotiating with, as President of the United States, and there's been, there's one every 4 years or 8 years. But what separates this from negotiating with the leader of a foreign power or a foreign country?
Go ahead, Amee.
Well, I'll tell you. The difference is that when and the president does negotiate with foreign countries all the time and engage in quid pro quos that are acceptable when they are negotiating on behalf of the country and they are trying to get something that benefits America and they are giving something that benefits the other country. Those kind of foreign relation quid pro quos do happen all the time, and they're certainly fine. But when you have the President of the United States negotiating a quid pro quo to receive something back that benefits him personally by going after his political opponent to help get him reelected in 2020, then we have a problem, and then it's an abuse of power.
Right, and he was first of all, Joe Biden is not his guaranteed political opponent in 2020. There's several others that could possibly.
He wanted to take him out at the knee, so that wasn't even an option.
But Joe Biden's been in office off and on for 35 to 40 years, and he was in office under Barack Obama. So if he was committing, or if he was committing crimes while he was in office but I'm saying, but if he was, why is he not immune to looking into just because he's running against the president, because he's potentially running against Donald Trump?
Because it was looked into and it was investigated and it was found that he was not, and these claims are false because it's a narrative they're deriving in order to back up Trump, to get Trump what he wants, to get rid of a political opponent. They're purposely false claims, and they're using them to bolster Trump's position and to dirty Biden and to say things that are not in fact There have been investigations. They are not proven. They are false. And he's using this narrative to drive his own self-promotion.
See, to me, that's the root of all this stuff. There is no evidence to support the fact that the Bidens broke the law. Now, you could make the argument that Joe Biden's son probably wouldn't have been receiving $85,000 a month.
But nepotism isn't illegal.
Hold on, but that's my point. If you look at the Trump family and you look at Ivanka Trump and all the dealings she's had with China since Donald Trump became president, listen, if people want to make it against the law, then I'm all for it. Fine. But right now it is not against the law. And it is clear, based on the evidence, that the Bidens did not break the law, even though many people on the right, including that moron Jim Jordan, who by the way is a pedophile enabler, wants you to believe that the Bidens are just the worst people in the world. When it was, that's the thing. It's usually people that scream stuff like this that are some of the worst people. I wanted to ask you about this before we let you go, Amy, because this is a story that really has bothered me and many. Okay, Jordan was the assistant wrestling coach, okay, at the time when almost 200 kids were molested sexually. Several of those have come forward and said they spoke to Jordan about this. And Jordan said, yeah, we know, according to at least one report. First of all, why would those kids lie, number one? And number two, how is it that Jordan is still a member of Congress?
Well, the second question, I want to take that last. Okay, so first of all, the second claim that Jordan was told about it was by another coach who said to him, and this is the second report of another coach telling Jordan, hey, this is happening, because they were talking about this guy in the shower being inappropriate. And Jim Jordan said, yeah, we know. So it's not just here. It's a separate, credible source saying it. So it's not just the kids who are claiming that they were molested or abused who have a vested interest in the outcome. It's an impartial party who isn't even a part of the lawsuit saying, yeah, we told him and he knew and he didn't care. So it's incredibly damning. And it's just, it's person after person after person. Everyone knew. And it just continues this cover up. It's a lot like the Sandusky one with all of the football. I mean, these things have been going on in sports in every arena for a long time. And, the last couple of years has seen a floodgate opening of all of us saying, we're not taking it anymore, especially with the ruling in Michigan against the gymnastics coach where he was actually prosecuted and criminally held liable. So if Jim Jordan were a Democrat, he would have already resigned because it seems Democrats take these things seriously.
Look at Al Franken. He had to resign over a few inappropriate pictures.
Or Katie Hill.
Exactly.
It's Katie Hill. Exactly, JD.
Hill,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
because
a very good point.
Democrats don't stand for it, and we won't let it fly because if we're saying, hey, you can't do it, then we have to have our house in order to. So, but Jim Jordan won't do the right thing, and he certainly won't resign because Republicans don't seem to do the right thing.
That being said, in Al Franken's case and Katie Hill's case, there was proof in the pictures with Jim Jordan. It's all hearsay.
Well, if you several people that were sexually molested coming forward saying that they went to Jordan, and you're telling me that the assistant wrestling coach at the hands of almost a couple hundred students that were sexually molested, and you're telling me Jordan didn't know anything about it? I'm sorry, I don't buy it.
In one case, there's hard evidence, in one side there isn't.
But let me say something. If you're in a court of law and you swear a witness like this second coach and he testifies that this in fact happened, then you have credible testimony, and that is evidence.
I agree completely, but Jordan is a coward and he will not step down. Okay, Amy, before we let you go.
No, but I'm just saying that is evidence that rises to the same level
no question.
as Hill and Franken.
I agree with you. No question.
Yep.
No question. Yep. I point taken. Okay, Amy, before we let you go, I wanted you to give out a little bit of that information, talk about where we could find your articles, where we can find you on social media if you can.
Sure. I write the Shapiro newsletter over at Substack. It's shapiro.substack.com. I have an ongoing impeachment cheat sheet that gives you all of the information you need with key dates, links, summaries, everything, just to check in on what's going on. And I'm doing a lot of special posts this week with regard to the impeachment. I'm doing a special one tomorrow about how things are going to change with procedure on this hearing and what we can expect. So come on over and check me out.
Great job, Amy. We always appreciate you coming on and laying everything out for us. You do a fantastic job, and we're going to put that cheat sheet up on our Twitter page as well. Thank you so much for your time.
Excellent.
We'll catch up with you next week. Okay, Amy?
Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right, appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Amy.
There you go, Amee Vanderpool. By the way, I should also say she's an attorney, so she's a very good debater. That's why I wanted to get you in there with her.
First of all, Brian, I'm not an attorney, and I usually don't get into debates with Avenatti and with Vanderpool. But I will, moving forward, I will start being.
I want to get you guys going.
I will start doing that more.
Because what's the fun of me? I don't. By the way, I don't always agree with Amy. Let's be very clear. But a lot of the stuff with Trump, I agree with her on. I know you disagree with her on a lot of stuff. We got to get you going with her. In the ring with Amee Vanderpool, J.D. Sharp is her first opponent. That'll be next week. Okay, that was a lot of fun. We always appreciate it when Amee takes the time to join us. So coming up next, this guy's been popular on this show. His name is Minister Stretch Sanders. We talk a lot about racial divide and racial issues facing the country. He's made some controversial comments. I'm going to go after him today a little bit, not in a negative way, but we're gonna get after it today, as Chris Cuomo would say. But we're going to talk a little bit about this MLK sign being taken down, the first black mayor being voted in a specific city, and we're going to talk about cops. Does he really think that the majority of police officers are racist? I certainly don't think that. We'll also take your calls at 257-5396, 702-257-5396 is the number to call. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this with Minister Stretch. You're listening to 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
The only FM news talk station in the Valley. 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Brought to the U.S. as children from deportation. His decision was immediately stopped by some of the lower courts. Correspondent Jessica Schneider reports they said Trump's executive order could not yet wind down DACA.
But what's interesting is that the Trump administration petitioned the Supreme Court saying we need emergency relief here, take up this case. So the court decided to take up the case, deciding on this. So it's possible that the Trump administration could go back, redraft this executive order and still wind down DACA. But this case, it won't be the same avenue here.
In a speech to the Economic Club of New York, the president is claiming credit for the nation's strong economic performance and said if he's reelected, there will be more of it.
Even this room, and you've experienced a lot of great times over the last 2.5 years, but even you will be surprised to see we have tremendous economic potential.
The public phase of the House impeachment inquiry begins tomorrow. Correspondent Caitlin Collins reports acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney says he will not sue to keep from testifying.
What he's doing today is he's saying he's not going to file a lawsuit asking a court whether or not he has to listen to House Democrats or the White House when it comes to answering the subpoena. That's different than what his attorney said just last night when they said he was going to file his own lawsuit asking the courts to make this decision.
Instead, Mulvaney says he will simply not appear as directed by President Trump. In Baltimore, Archbishop Jose Gomez of Los Angeles, an immigrant from Mexico, overwhelmingly won election as the first Hispanic to head the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. Gomez is considered a conservative in regard to church doctrine, but strongly advocates a welcoming immigration policy and path to citizenship for many people living in the U.S. illegally. The Dow is up 40 points, S&P up 7. I'm Evan Haining.
It's time to check the roads in the KDAWN Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by your Southern Nevada Chevy dealer. Watch for slowing for the crash I-15 northbound at Tropicana. Also an accident on I-15 southbound at Washington. And on the surface streets, a hit-and-run accident investigation underway. Desert Inn Road west of Boulder Highway. Watch for police presence in the area. Also a crash injury sustained reported Flamingo westbound at the 95. Fall in love with a new Chevy during the Black Friday sales event. Head to a Southern Nevada Chevy dealer and get a great deal all month long on select Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs. Chevrolet. Find new roads. John Michaels from the KDAWN Traffic Center.
Blue Emu Lidocaine Cream and Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Cream both are deep penetrating and odor-free. Beat the pain 2 ways and live life. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
Hi, it's Sam.
Hey, it's Ash, and we're Sam and Ash, your personal injury attorneys.
An accident is incredibly stressful. Handling an insurance claim, totally overwhelming.
Also, the insurance companies have zero interest in giving their money to you, because honestly, that just cuts into their profits.
Our team is in your corner because you deserve what's right, and that's full compensation for your injuries.
So call us 24/7 at 1-800-304-2000 or visit samandash.com.
Sam and Ash.
What's right?
Hi, I'm Raymond Denon, Vice President of Optima Tax Relief. If you're in debt to the IRS, there's a lot you need to know. Starting with rule number 1, don't mess with the IRS. They can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts, even take your home or business. That's all true. But it's also true that there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. It's one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, even tens of thousands. Nobody knows this program like us, the experts at Optima Tax Relief. We have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and we've resolved over $500 million in tax debt for our clients. We'll stand between you and the IRS and fight to get you the best deal possible. Don't mess with the IRS. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima for a free consultation.
Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Are your investment dollars really going to work for you? The average Vestar Tech client gets 78% annual returns. That's right, 78% annual returns for over 2 decades with a recession-proof investment class they just started offering to the public. And for a limited time, you can begin enjoying these amazing annual returns. Call now for more info and to take advantage of 6 months absolutely free. This offer won't last, so call now at 888-88-PROFIT. Call Vestar Tech now. That's 888-88-PROFIT.
V is for victory, except on Saturdays when V is for veterans. That's Veterans Talk, The Forgotten Promise. Join us every Saturday from noon to 1.
Veterans Talk every Saturday at noon on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN. Listen to the Texas Corners Bible Church every Saturday night at 11 p.m. and Sunday night at 10 p.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, so glad you could join us. By the way, a guy we had on the show last week, remember he was hiking for a week in the Appalachians? We had Mark Sanford on the show last week talking about his presidential campaign. Well, guess what? He just suspended his campaign. That's breaking news, so I thought we would report on that. Joining us in studio, though, it's not Mark Sanford. Joining us in studio, we love having him on every week. It's the Minister, Stretch Sanders. He's an activist, and he's done a lot of things for a lot of people in Las Vegas. And he joins us every week, like I said, and he's here right now. Stretch, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. How are you?
Thank you guys for having me. Power to the people.
Absolutely,
Yes.
Stretch.
All right, so we talked a lot about this new homeless ordinance. We had Mayor Carolyn Goodman that was on last week. I think it is absurd and ridiculous. And for those of you that don't know, you can be fined up to $1,000 and spend up to 6 months in jail if you are sleeping homeless on the streets in certain zones. And what she's trying to do is get people into these, what would you call them? Homeless shelters. But the problem is many of these homeless shelters are full to capacity. So this law makes absolutely no sense. So it's my understanding, Stretch, that you are planning a shutdown, not a government shutdown, a Fremont Street shutdown on MLK Day to protest this new ordinance. Is that correct? Tell us about it.
Absolutely. So we're still formulating it. I can't speak too much on the extent of the details of the march, but we're doing a shutdown Fremont Street Justice for the Poor march. It's going to be on Fremont Street on MLK Day. And so we're doing this to, number one, bring awareness. This has become a national issue, but no one nationally has taken action with us yet. And so to get those to join us and to see that this is immoral, this is a war against the poor, this is an inhumane situation, we must dramatize the situation by taking it to the streets, hitting the pockets. We also understand that this is a money issue. This is a business deal. Has nothing to do with helping people, has nothing to do with what's best for the city. It's what's best for the tourism and what's best for the pockets of those who sit on our city council. Out of 7 people, only 2 voted no. And so we understand, and shout out to Diaz and Cutson for being those with integrity to say, how about we invest in affordable housing? How about we invest in living wages? How about we invest in mental health facilities? How about we invest in things that cause those to get on the street, opposed to locking up? When you're on the street, that's a product of something. That's a good point. That's a result of something. Whether people made bad choices or not, let's try to get those who are on that same path of making those same choices.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Off the street who've made bad choices.
By the way, I'm with you 100% on this. Don't disagree with anything you've said, but here's where I do disagree a little bit. You're shutting down Fremont. Does that mean the streets are going to be shut down also?
So, like I said, I'm not going to give out too much of what the protest is going to look like until we get closer to the day, but we're definitely going to occupy Fremont Street, occupy downtown.
So we've used the word occupy before, where I've seen some people who protest close down streets. It clogs traffic.
Yes.
It impedes people the ability to go to work.
Traffic will get stopped.
Okay, see, that's where I disagree with you. Why inconvenience regular people that, like myself, that agree with you? Why would you inconvenience regular everyday people? How does that help your cause?
Why would we inconvenience those who sleep on the street?
Well, I agree, but why inconvenience more people? I don't understand that. Explain that to me.
The real inconvenience is those who will be fined $1,000 and subject to jail time. So in order, Dr. King says civil disobedience is direct action.
Stretch,
it's one
I
of the
agree.
greatest ways, but unfortunately, part of that direct action is stopping traffic.
Listen, Stretch, I agree with you with this issue, right? I applaud you for doing this, okay? I'm not trying to criticize you for doing what I think is right.
Absolutely.
But what I am giving you a little bit of criticism for, I don't understand protesters in general that want to block streets and inconvenience people. Listen, Stretch, these are people that have to go to work. You're going to annoy them, okay? Now, I don't think that helps your cause. For example, there have been other causes in Las Vegas, right? Plenty of other unions, right? The culinary union, for example. I remember they blocked Las Vegas Boulevard. You are inconveniencing people and you are pissing people off. I don't think that is going to help. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
We're asking that those who have to go to work on 1/20/20 MLK, they were asking that they come join us. If they come join us, it's not an inconvenience.
What type of turnout?
They got 2 months to take off.
Stretch, you feel pretty like what type of turnout are you? Obviously, don't give us the thousands, legitimately thousands.
We're bringing
of people.
in people who are national people. We're bringing in those who are from other states who are, I don't use the term homeless, but quote unquote homeless rights activists, homeless advocates, local and nationally. See, this reason why this has become such an issue is because it's not just a Las Vegas problem.
No, it's a
national problem. It's a global problem.
I agree.
And so it should be a state of emergency. In no city, town, large and small, should there be anybody who's on the street. When we have funded arenas, we're bringing in sports teams, and we're building up. I counted 106 hotels, 106 casinos on Google.
Yeah, what about a guy who goes to a bar and gets a giant bottle of liquor, drinks it all, passes out on the sidewalk? What do you do about that?
That's a different circumstance.
Why? Why is it a different? A lot of these circumstances it's predicated around substance abuse, drug abuse, alcohol abuse,
the guy
et cetera, et cetera.
Is he living on the street, or is he just like get drunk and he has wife and kids at home?
That's a different right. Which circumstance you're referring to?
Well, you're saying you want no one sleeping in the streets. I mean, people
as a home,
right? Well, regardless whether you have a home or you don't have a home. I mean,
people
are going to do that.
But it makes a difference.
But we're specifically talking about people 24 hours a day
That's
living on the streets. If you're talking about a guy that passes out on the street and then 4 or 5 hours later goes home and sobers up, to me those are two completely different circumstances. So we're asking you, which circumstance are you talking about? Because there has to be a distinction.
So I'm speaking specifically on those for 3+ days. They have no other way to turn to.
My response to what you said is no. I wouldn't have as big of a problem as somebody that's trying to sober up that drank too much. A one-time deal. Now, if he's doing it 6 days a week, yes, I would have a problem with that.
But in the next question you have to ask yourself is: Are the homeless safer on the street or in jail under these circumstances?
Those who don't have shelter need to have homes. They need to have affordable. My whole gain an agenda is that we need to lift up those out of that condition.
Mm-hmm.
Every person should be concerned with people without homes. But the only time we're concerned is when Thanksgiving comes around, Christmas comes around. After Christmas, we don't care. That's why I specifically put this march on MLK Day. We're going to do it the first of the year, so that way it's fresh. And I'm hoping that from that point on, we start that year off doing nothing but advocacy for those who can't do for themselves.
And listen, I know your heart is in the right place. I'm not trying to misconstrue what you're trying to do. I know you want to help people. You want to help the homeless. You want to help a lot of minorities and help people live a good life.
Minorities and those who are white.
I understand, and that's why I'm trying to say I know your heart's in the right place, and you've done a lot of good things to a lot of good people. My only point, going back to what I was saying before, is you are that day at least you're going to hurt businesses, and on that day you are going to inconvenience a lot of people. I'm just saying.
Bet we are.
I'm just saying I'm not sure that is the right approach.
It's the best approach.
Why not march in front of where Carolyn Goodman's office is?
We tried. So at November 6th, we went into the city. See, my mom always taught me, before you kick the door, don't twist the knob. We twisted the knob. We staged a nice, quiet, toned-down protest. Mayor Goodman told me to my face, sit down and shut up and let me conduct my meeting.
Carolyn Goodman told you to shut up?
Yeah. People were shouting, F you, Mayor Goodman, doing all this, right? I said, Mayor Goodman, may I say something? I'm trying to calm, I'm the minister, let me calm things down, because it was kind of getting out of control. And she goes, no, what you can do is you can sit down and shut up and let me conduct my meeting.
So there were people saying F you to her.
For sure.
Okay, so you'd understand why she maybe was a little irritated.
For sure.
Right?
But also she's a mayor, right? So being a leader, I'm a leader as well. I'm a leader who
she didn't
understands
show,
criticism.
I understand. Yeah.
So you have to, my number one rule to people who are public figures is stay on your square.
Well, I'm
you don't
sorry
let
she spoke
anybody
to you
get
that
you
way.
out of character. But it's okay. Right. And this protest is it's not personal. It's not in response to her telling me shut up. It's in response to the fact that she put in the ordinance without any plan B, any follow.
I'll tell you what we're going to try to do.
What's your game plan?
I'll tell you what we're going to try to do. We had Mayor Carolyn Goodman on last week. We would like to get her on with you.
Okay.
And I can assure you that she's not going to talk to you like that if she's on the show. That was obviously a very stressful situation. I'm not condoning the way she talked to you, and I don't think we should condone the way some people spoke to her.
We're hoping that in these 2 months, Mayor Goodman calls off this ban. She calls off the ban, we call off the protest.
Okay, well,
she don't call off the ban. We're not going to call it the protest.
I don't think she's going to call it off.
So, would the Fremont Street protest be the first of many protests that you've got planned out?
Absolutely. And from that point, it's only going to get better.
And would those be placed in various parts of the city?
Absolutely.
Stretch, I'm just telling you from my point of view, okay? I agree with your stance on this. I think it's absolutely absurd.
But
I'm going to be upset if I'm driving to work or wherever I'm driving
take
to.
Off.
Wherever.
Well, especially because...
Yeah, but some people don't have the opportunity to be able to take a day off.
Join us.
And the Strip as of now, or Fremont Street as of now, it's very, very difficult to maneuver. I mean, it takes me 45 minutes to get from my house
I'm just telling you,
to the Palazzo.
You're going to get some backlash.
What day?
MLK Day. Dr. King.
Was that a Friday or a Saturday?
That's a Monday.
That's a Monday.
All right, well,
at least it's not a Friday or a Saturday, because that could be a serious
We're going to do
issue.
Monday because people are off work. Most people are off on MLK. That's a federal holiday. And Dr. King, his last action that he did was for the sanitation workers in Tennessee. He had a quote where he said, the question shouldn't be what's going to happen to me if I don't get involved. It's going to be what's going to happen to them if I don't get involved. And so we have to understand, yes, you're going to miss work. Yes, you're going to be late. Yes, it's going to inconvenience for an hour, 2, 3 plus until we get arrested. At the end of the day,
you're prepared to be arrested.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, for us to bring forth change, we have to flip the foundation. We are fighting for the poor. We are fighting for the least of these. I'm a minister. I'm asking on other ministers to get out of your 4 walls, get out of your mosques, your synagogues, your churches, and get some courage and do what the prophets and people that you believe in would have done. If Jesus was living right now physically, he would be with us. That's how
I want to open up the phone lines, and I want to know what people think about this. Do you take his side on this one, Stretch? Not necessarily when it comes to the homeless ordinance and disagreeing with it. Do you think he's going about it the right way? Do you think shutting down Fremont Street and shutting down some streets and preparing for hundreds, maybe even thousands, to be arrested, do you think that is the right approach here? Or would
let me be clear.
Yeah. Let me give out the number real quick.
Okay.
702-257-5396. Again, that number to call, 702-257-5396. We're talking about the homeless ordinance. It's Stretch Sanders in studio. He is prepared to strike, I guess you could say, and to shut down Fremont Street on MLK Day. Do you agree or do you disagree?
This is more of a picket, right?
And let me be clear. Not everyone is going to get arrested, is asked to be arrested. Some of us. reason why we don't want everybody can't go. Everybody can't go, whether they can afford to or not. So it's going to be some of us who will voluntarily.
But Stretch, you understand. You understand that if you're arrested and many others are arrested, that costs taxpayer money. Not only is that taxpayer money, but you are hurting local businesses. You are. Listen, I've said it a million times. I agree with you.
Who's
with
really
this thing.
being hurt? The brother on the street, the sister in the street who's getting a fine.
But that's a separate issue, though, isn't it?
No, I have to stand for them because
and
they're
I
hurting.
think you have to think about this homeless ordinance.
It's immoral.
No, tourism is probably 50 to 60% of the revenue in Las Vegas. There's 1 million people visiting every single week. There's 50 million tourists visiting a year right now. And sometimes people on the streets intervene with tourists in a negative way. And sometimes, I think that the mayor is worried that it's going to drive tourists away from Las Vegas. And so you say it's not about, or it's about money. Well, it is about money, but it is good for the city of Las Vegas because the city of Las Vegas is built on tourism.
Let's find out what the people out there think. Let me give out that number one more time. 257-5396. 702-257-5396. We're talking about this controversial ordinance put into place by Mayor Carolyn Goodman when it comes to the homeless people. They could be fined up to $1,000. They could spend up to 6 months in jail. We have the minister, Stretch Sanders, in studio that is preparing to shut down Fremont Street on MLK Day to protest this new ordinance. Local businesses are going to be impacted by this. The streets are going to be closed down. He said it himself. He is prepared to be arrested. Do you think he's going about this the right way? Your thoughts, your comments, 257-5396. Why don't we start off with Kevin? Kevin, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. What do you think about this?
Hey, Kevin.
What's up, Kevin?
Hey, guys. Yeah, Minister, I'm totally with you. I think that you need to broaden your view of where you need to shut down McCarran International Airport should be targeted as well.
Thank you.
Wait, hold on a second. You think the McCarran should be shut down? Are you really?
Absolutely.
So you want to impact people traveling?
Come on, bro.
What if? Hold on
Hold
on a second. How about organs that need to be transported to facilities to save lives? You're okay with? Do you realize what the impact would be?
Organs that have already been lost and people that have been dying in the streets.
That is it. So two wrongs make a right. You want to kill more people? Is that what you're saying?
What do you want me to do? We tried reasoning, which, like you said, he tried to turn it
I'll tell you what I don't want you to do, and that's shut down an international airport. That's what I don't want you to do.
Thank you for that idea.
Get your attention. You will definitely come to the table, won't you?
What are you talking about? I'm with you when it comes to this homeless thing. Why are you fighting with me?
You keep dithering back and forth about, well, I don't know if I agree with that.
What are you talking about? You're wrong. You don't even know my take. I made it very clear. I'm against this ordinance.
Because you're trying to play.
Because I don't want you to shut down the airport. I'm not on your side.
The bottom line is the minister is right. Okay, the minister is right. Shut down McCarran Airport.
Why don't we just shut down the whole city while we're at it? Would you like to do that too?
Why not? Fine.
Okay, well, you're ridiculous. Okay, Kevin, all right, Kevin, I can't debate you. You're ridiculous. Stretch, I'm sorry. You can't shut down the whole city. You can't shut down an international airport. That is ludicrous.
Stretch, I will say you are inspiring people. How do you feel about that?
And by the way, he totally mischaracterized. he totally
praise God.
He totally mischaracterized me. Okay, I am against this ordinance. I am against Carolyn Goodman. I told her I was against it. Okay, that doesn't mean you need to shut down the whole city.
Yeah, I think let's hit this. We all can agree that we need to get people off the street. That's agreed. Now, the way we probably think that the way they're going about it is wrong, but then we all probably may disagree in the way that we're going to respond to it.
Yeah.
And I understand that. Everybody's not going to agree with this because it is an inconvenience. But the true inconvenience is a person who doesn't have money to feed themselves. The true inconvenience is a sister who has to have her cycle on a sock.
I agree.
So therefore, I'm not concerned with nobody being late for work. None of that. My concern is people who are poor who will be fined and put in jail. So me sitting in jail for however long is not going to hurt me or people who are going to be literally living like this forever.
Have you been in jail before under circumstances like this?
I've been arrested May 28th, 2017 for Tashi Brown Farmer. We shut down the Las Vegas Boulevard by the Venetian. And that was one of the first times where any person has protested against police terrorism and has blocked traffic on the street. We were the first ones to get arrested for that cause. Did I want to go to jail? No, but I understand that.
I understand.
Like King and so many others, we have to take a stand. And if it means being in jail, if it means being killed, We have to be willing to stand up and be leaders. Where's our courage? We're so afraid of what's going to happen to us. What's going to happen to those who will be fined and who can't eat and who can't survive?
Again, I'm on your side.
That's my concern.
Again, I'm on your side. I agree with you. I'm just not sure closing down an international airport is the right way to go about it. Let's take some phone calls. 702-257-5396. Calvin, I want to go to you next, Calvin. What do you think about this issue? Do you think what Stretch is doing could solve the problem?
What's up, Calvin?
How you doing? And Stretch got some good ideas, but the fact of the matter, going to jail is not going to solve anything. What are you going to do? Go in there and start a rally with the homeless that they've arrested as well? The fact
That's
of
a
the
good
matter
point.
is we need to come together as a group of people, make some decisions for these homeless. Carolyn Goodman has lost her mind. You can't arrest the homeless and charge them $1,000. How they're going to pay it? That's why they're homeless. If they had the money, they would be off the street.
Calvin, we agree. Yeah. Go ahead, Calvin.
Well, we totally agree. I just think Stretch needs to understand, and you're going to try to immortalize Martin Luther Day by going to jail. He was nonviolent. And at this point, why are we going to break laws to try to create laws? Let's just fix the problem.
Calvin, hang on the line. Go ahead and respond to Calvin.
Your response, Calvin, and thank you for your words, Calvin, but you said something. We're going to try to immoralize Dr. King Day by going to jail. Do you know how many times Dr. King was arrested? 35 times.
I do, sir. I do.
35. You obviously don't. You obviously don't because Dr. King died. You obviously don't because Dr. King literally died and was arrested.
To do it.
He was the week he was killed. He was arrested fighting for sanitation workers. So if Dr. King was living, he would be standing. If Dr. King was living, he'll be standing with us. So at the end of the day,
the only thing is to go to jail.
No,
what are you proving?
the only thing is not to go to jail. The main thing. No. I'm telling you.
Dr. King went to jail. I know he went to jail. He fought for the reason for you to be on this radio show.
But why is he fighting? He fought, but you're not fighting. You're just complaining.
So
at the end of the day, what solutions are you bringing forth? See, it's one thing. It's one. What are you doing now? I can tell us. It's not what you It's not what you obtain. It's what you maintain. So you're talking about what you did 30 years ago. What are you doing today? So don't call and try to criticize my solution. You have nothing to bring to the table. I have a town hall meeting I'm hosting on the 23rd. Where's your town hall at? What town hall meeting are you going to host? Where are you at, servant? I'm out here 365.
All right, let's let Calvin go ahead.
Come on now, you just talking. You have no solution. So you can't criticize what I'm doing. You ain't doing nothing for the people, brother. You being a cop means nothing. You ain't doing nothing now.
All right, let's give Calvin. Let's give Calvin a couple. All right, let's let Calvin a couple seconds to respond.
Okay,
go ahead, Calvin.
Here's the thing: Stretch wants to be argumentative to try to prove his point. I don't have to get out there and do anything in those streets. I've committed my service to this city. But the fact of the matter is, if I can't voice an opinion and be and not agree with you, it doesn't mean I'm wrong and it doesn't mean you're wrong. We just both have our opinions. And my opinion is just as valuable as yours. And I have done out there, I feed the homeless every year with my wife out there. And I do a whole lot of things out there. But the fact of the matter is, I don't have to have a town hall and say, oh, there, look what I'm doing. I'm feeding the homeless.
Calvin, my only issue is that you said we're going to immoralize Dr. King Day. I have a problem with that statement because if anything, we're doing what Dr. King would have wanted. I have no problem with you voicing your opinion. We can agree to disagree. But when you told me we're immoralizing, what you told me was we're wrong. And we're not wrong. The point of this action is not to get arrested. The point of this action is to bring awareness to the issue and say we're willing to put our lives on the line to ensure that you and others have a better future. If you can't see value in that and appreciate that, then that's on you, brother. I'm not knocking you, and I'm definitely not trying to disrespect you. I'm just letting you know
it's a good
we can't
debate.
just keep talking. We got to put action.
All right.
And people are blowing me up saying, well, Stretch, you can't do this. Okay, brother, what's your suggestion? It's easy to say what I should be doing, but what are you bringing to the table?
Well,
and that's not just to you, Calvin. That's to anybody who may have some type of criticism. Is bring something to the table.
Let's take another call. We only have one phone line open.
Thanks for the call, Calvin.
257-5396. By the way, Calvin, your opinion is appreciated, and Stretch does appreciate that. You both just disagree. Let's go to Angela. Angela, you are next on the Vegas Take. Thanks for calling in. What do you think about this?
What's up, Angela?
Hi. I just wanted to say, I don't think that causing a bigger problem is going to help out. I think what you need to do is probably find a solution. And if you can get this many people to follow you to protest, you can get this many people to fundraise and open up a homeless shelter or even open up a homeless community and help them grow their own food and, teach them different things to help them out in life rather than just saying, hey, don't give them a ticket, fundraise.
What do you say to that, Stretch?
Angela, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
I'm here.
If we do this, are you going to join us?
No, I got to pick up my kid from school.
No, take the protests away, because nobody has yet asked me and said, well, Stretch, besides the protests, what else are you guys doing? See, little do you guys know, the purpose of the town hall is not just to talk about the protests, it's to talk about other solutions, right? And so the goal is to open up centers. But the thing about it, the point of the protest is to get the ban overturned. It's in response of the ban. I'm not Jesus. I'm not the Great White Hope. So people can have I'm not.
I thought you were. I thought you were as well.
I know, but I'm not.
I'm very confused.
So
I'm the bald Jewish Jesus. That's who I am.
We have to understand that if we are going, like you said, we can fundraise. Okay, Angela, help us fundraise.
Yeah.
So it's one thing we can.
I would totally help.
Okay, then let's do it. So there's room, but it shouldn't be a matter of don't do that, do this.
I agree with you, Angela.
There's room for everything to be done.
I like your thought process of saying, Stretch, you're very, very skilled. Clearly, why don't you harness your skills and put it towards something legitimately positive instead of something like this, which you think is positive, but it definitely has negativity attached to it.
Not at all.
And it will affect people negatively. It will, 100%.
Angela, we appreciate your call. So here's what I want to do. We have a lot of people on hold, some people that will agree with you, some people that disagree. We even have someone on hold that is questioning your credentials. I have one phone line open. We have Frank, Brian. We have Frank, Brian, Steve, Lewis, Tom, Steve, and Jim. We will get to all of your calls. Stay patient with us on the other side of the break. I promise I will get to all of you. And as I said, we have one phone line open, 257-5396, 702-257-5396. We are joined in studio by the Minister, Stretch Sanders, who says he is planning on shutting down Fremont Street on MLK Day to protest this new homeless ordinance. It is a controversial thing, some might think. Stretch certainly doesn't think so, and we're allowing him to make that case on this show, as he always is welcome to do so. We're going to take your calls coming up next. We're going to take a quick break. We will get to all your phone calls on the other side. You are listening right here to the Vegas Take. Be back after this.
The House impeachment investigation will be televised starting tomorrow, but the trial for longtime Trump political advisor Roger Stone is underway now. Correspondent Shimon Prokopez reports the prosecution rested its case this morning after candidate Donald Trump's deputy campaign manager Rick Gates testified. Gates says Stone wanted to contact Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, to debrief him about hacked emails that were damaging to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign.
Basically, Donald Trump says that he did not recall having those conversations. Rick Gates, on the other hand, said, yeah, these conversations did take place. Donald Trump, in the written questions that he submitted and the answers that he submitted to Mueller, said, I don't recall those conversations.
Former President Jimmy Carter is recovering from surgery to relieve pressure from brain bleeding linked to recent falls. Right now on Wall Street, the Dow up 28, the S&P ahead 10, the NASDAQ has added 36. I'm Evan Haining.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report is paid for by Doctor Patient Unity. Watch for slowing for the crash on the 95 northbound at Sunset. Also an accident 95 southbound at the Spaghetti Bowl. This is going to be on the transition ramp to southbound I-15. And an injury crash, police and fire at the scene at Flamingo at McLeod Drive. Also an injury crash at Durango southbound at the 95. As surprise medical bills bankrupt Americans, Jackie Rosen stands with doctors to remove patients from billing disputes. She demands insurance companies pay their fair share in opposing their rate-setting proposal to cover less medical care. Tell Jackie Rosen thank you and keep fighting. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
We're running a health insurance survey right now, and here's a question to our listeners. Do you personally write the checks for your family's health insurance bill every month? Okay. Are you frustrated because your health insurance premium is costing you as much or more than your mortgage? Buying health insurance is complicated, and U.S. Health Group's licensed agents can make it easy for you. They'll show you the best options for your needs, in person or over the phone. It's up to you, but you need to act now. You could have a new health coverage plan and start saving money next month. Don't wait. The call and the quote are free.
Call 800-519-5582, 800-519-5582, 800-519-5582. That's 800-519-5582. Plans are underwritten by Freedom Life Insurance Company of America, Enterprise Life Insurance Company, or National Foundation Life Insurance Company. This coverage is not available in all states, and some exclusions or limitations may apply in your state.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever, 99 cents, plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
If your retirement plan is on set it and forget it, it's time to take control. Tune in for Financial Safari with America's Wealth Coach and best-selling author, Coach Pete D'Arruda. For more than 25 years, Coach Pete has been helping people just like you plan for retirement. Join Coach Pete every week as he discusses topics like why your retirement plan should also be an income plan and how to make sure you're getting the most out of your 401k.
Financial Safari with Coach Pete, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDAWN.
At O'Reilly Auto Parts, we'll help make your auto repair, maintenance, and restoration projects easier. So when your car isn't stopping like it used to, our professional parts people will help you find the brake parts and supplies you need to do the job right the first time. Now, for a limited time, get 15% off a set of Brake Best pads and 2 rotors. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDAWN.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro on a Tuesday. Our in-studio guest is Minister Stretch Sanders. We're talking about the new homeless ordinance that was passed by Mayor Carolyn Goodman. A homeless person can be fined up to $1,000, spend up to 6 months in jail. So Stretch has decided to shut down Fremont Street on MLK Day to protest this homeless ordinance. It will hurt local businesses, it will affect traffic, and it will affect people and their bottom line. Do you agree or do you disagree with Stretch? And we're taking some phone calls. We have a few phone lines open, 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. Stretch, I want to go.
We must take a stand.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's going to inconvenience people, but the real inconvenience is the war on the poor. The real inconvenience is the sister who can't afford to have her cycle properly. The real inconvenience is those who are going to be hungry. See, we're so concerned what's going to happen to us, what's going to happen to them.
Mm-hmm.
We've lost our sense and compassion for humanity, and we lost our love for each other. What happened to love thy neighbor? How I'm going to say I love you, and then when you get attacked, I don't stand up for you.
All right, well,
this protest is me being the big brother for my little brothers and little sisters.
And I know your heart's in the right place. Let me say that again. Let's take a few phone calls at 257-5396. Go to Brian. Brian, you're next on the Vegas Take. What do you have to say about all this?
What's up, Brian?
Hey, what's happening, gentlemen?
What's up?
How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing good. I just wanted to ask, I wanted to inquire of Stretch where he got his ordinations from first, and then I have a follow-up about what I think about the ban.
All right, go ahead, Stretch.
So, Brian, I'm licensed. I'm not ordained. In the Baptist church, there's a 2-step process. First, you're licensed through the church, and then once you go through seminary training, which I'm in seminary school right now, you're ordained after your seminary degree is in your hand. So I go to Faith International University and Seminary, and I have a year left. And once that's over with, once my pastor feels that I've met my requirements, then I'll be ordained. And all ordination means in the Baptist church is that I have the right to marry people without having a license from another pastor who's ordained. So you get papers from the state, which is officiation papers. That's the only difference between a licensed and ordained minister.
All right, Brian, there you go. What's your next question?
Which Baptist organization? Well, there's a whole bunch of different Baptist groups.
Missionary Baptist. We're under the National Baptist Convention.
All right. We've asserted that.
Our president is Pastor Kelsey West.
Go ahead, Brian. Next
thank
question.
You for that. I appreciate that. And for me, I posted on the Vegas Take Facebook page a video called Seattle is Dying. And I would encourage everybody who's listening today to watch that 1-hour video. It was done by the news broadcasters in Seattle. YouTube has taken it off, so you can't watch it there, but this is from the news organization itself. Number two, the ban, I think, is basically a tool. The homeless people do not have a right to camp, to pitch a tent on the sidewalk of the city, defecate in the alleyway or piss in the alleyway, throw hypodermic needles in the gutters for everybody else to clean up. If I'm a business owner and I pay for a business license and my business depends on walk-in clientele coming to my business, and I've got 5 or 10 tents out in front of my door.
Stretch, go ahead and respond to that.
And so I agree with you. I think that none of us are saying that people need to be on the street and need to do what comes with that. But at the same token, I understand it's survival, right? I mean, you have the luxury of having a bathroom. So it's easy to say people shouldn't, leave feces on the bathroom, on the floor, or urinate in the alley. So to stop that, the solution is not to arrest and to fine. To stop that, the solution should be, let's get these people in homes. Let's get these people some mental health treatment, some therapists. Like I said, anybody who's out there who you may think is out there by choice, that's a mental health issue. Anybody who's out there because of alcohol and drugs, something's wrong with that. Let's get them in some rehab. So we have to stop criminalizing people when they fall into poverty and what comes out of poverty. But Victor Hugo said, wherever darkness is, crimes will be committed. So what's causing that darkness? So if the crime is them peeing and urinating on public property, what's created that darkness? Not having a home, not having living wages, not having medical care, not having mental health medication. And so let's get to the root of the problem. I want them off the street as much as you do. But I want them to be in civilized homes, not in nasty shelters and on the street or in jail.
But at what point do you make the people responsible for their own decisions and the repercussions that come with that? I mean, at this point, when do you take Darwinism into consideration here? When people when they drink themselves out of all their money, or they do drugs to the point where they have nowhere to live, or they gamble at many of the casinos in town and they lose all their money, which happens all the time, and obviously it happens here in Vegas more than anywhere else.
Happens to me every day, but I'm not homeless.
Of course, you only punish those who do crimes.
But they're punishing themselves,
and that's okay. Then let that be what it is. But we don't fight that with I'm going to give you a fine and jail time. So now if that person comes inside a casino and they put feces and slams it on the table or urinates in somebody who's gambling, then yes, that person needs to be held accountable because that's something that they're breaking crime. They're breaking laws and rules and regulations. But people have a right to camp out wherever they want to camp out if there's nowhere to go. There's 5,000 beds. I mean, there's supposed to be 5,000 people on the street with 1,000 beds. Excuse me. So if there's 5,000 on the street,
Stretch, there needs to be middle ground. I agree with you there. Let's take some more phone calls at 257-5396. Joel, you are next on the Vegas Take You On with Stretch. What do you think about all this?
Thank you.
What's up,
for
Joel?
my call.
Sure.
Stretch, I totally agree with your idea that you need to rattle cages. Sure, it's going to inconvenience people, but that's the only way you're going to get their attention. But I would ask you one question. What you're talking about are long-term fixes for immediate problems. What do you envision the city can do, because it's got to be done by the city initially, to get people off the street tonight?
Good question, Joel.
There are only 1,000 beds and there are 5,000 people. So what do we...
Okay, good question, Joel. Let's go ahead,
Joel,
Stretch.
thank you for your question. So what I propose is the city can take some funding for the hotels and motels that are abandoned on Fremont Street. You have the Alicia Hotel. You have multiple free hotels and motels that have been closed down for years. We can take those and make those 6 months to a year transitional living centers, put salons, put food pantries, and give people 6 months in and out. You can do a lot in 6 months to get a job, to save up, and put them through a program, have a therapist on file, and that can be done immediately because the hotels and motels are already up. We just have to redo the structure a little bit. And so I propose having more transitional living centers, take some of the property and gets those who have backgrounds in construction and build tiny homes. Multiple cities across the country are building tiny homes and trailers. People are taking buses. We can go get abandoned buses and vans, make those. Look, if they got people in a bus, solutions. That's okay. Just get them off the street.
How about sending people in buses to Gene, which was an old jail, and it could be turned into a facility where people will have, a bed, food, access to health care. See, I actually like that. And guess who wanted to put that into place? Oscar Goodman. And I asked Carolyn Goodman about it. It's something they could consider down the road. I think they should do it right now. However, I want to bring this up really quickly. I was a reporter over 10 years ago. I covered the culinary union strikes, okay? It was happening downtown, okay, and happening on the Strip. They closed down streets. I know some people that weren't able to get to work that day. And I'm going to tell you something. While I support those people to a sense, at that day, and since then I said, why should you get more money and more of an hourly wage when your objection, what you're trying to do is you're trying to inconvenience me, good people that are trying to go to work every day. Now, I know this is a different subject than the homeless because these people do have jobs, but I was pissed off at the culinary union, and I was pissed off at the fact that they wanted to you could have a strike without blocking roads. You could have a strike without inconveniencing people. So again, it goes back to what I asked you earlier. Why must you inconvenience people and shut down Fremont Street? Why hurt local businesses and good people that are trying to make a living? Why block streets of good people? What if there's an ambulance that needs to get through?
Not even quote unquote. You don't know if they're good people, but they're definitely productive members of society.
And what if there's an emergency where an ambulance needs to get in there?
You are absolutely impeding their ability. I mean, you're impeding commerce in the biggest tourism city on the planet outside of Macau and China.
Here's somebody that might agree with me. I'm not so sure, but let's take a call from Leroy. Leroy, you are on with Stretch Sanders. Go ahead.
What's up,
Hey
Leroy?
guys, I like your idea about the using the properties downtown, but it's just not realistic unless the town owns them properties. Because an acre of land downtown, you know as well as I do, goes for what, over $1 million.
Right.
Right now, more than that.
Way more than that.
So, yeah, a lot more than that. Look, man, there's a solution to this problem. When I first moved here in 2002, there was zero unemployment, man. You either worked here, had the money to live here. There wasn't all these people on the streets. And then they made it much more easier for people to just say, I don't want to work. Everybody was going on welfare, getting hooked on drugs, already hooked on drugs. And then the next thing you know, you got this. Now, there's truly some people that have mental problems, but a lot of this came out of neglect and just trying to give everybody a free ride. And then they came out with that Agenda 21, and,
Leroy, do you agree with Stretch's approach to how he's handling this?
I agree with his approach, but it's got to be done from the top up, like from like the governor saying, you know what, let's do something about this. It don't matter if it's a Democrat or a Republican in there. They all do the same thing when it comes to this.
Sadly,
let's
Leroy.
Let's give illegal aliens all these benefits. Let them vote. Let them drive. But you got some guy that don't even know where he was at that maybe served in Nam or Iraq, and that guy's living on the street. Now, there's something big wrong with that. And
Leroy, it's a big problem. That's a big problem. Right? The fact that yesterday we had veteran parades downtown, and you got those who are veterans on the street waving at the parade. And so we have thousands. Matter of fact, they say 72% of those on the street are veterans. And so that's a huge problem. How can you serve this country and literally be forced to sleep on the street? That's a shame on us. So this affects everybody. We all have had relatives who are veterans. We all have relatives who are in the service now, in the past. So the solution is, I understand people may not like the way we're going about this, but for us to get people to say, hey, this is wrong, and we're calling this ain't just on the mayor, we're calling on the governor to step in.
And he can.
And our city leaders.
Sisolak can step in if he wants to. He's the governor.
To step
That's
in
a good
and
point.
say, you know what, we will take off this ban, and we're going to give 6 months to implement some social work programs before you go to let's arrest and get fines.
And I want to get Sisolak on the show, and I want to talk to him about this issue.
Bring him on when the mayor comes on.
257-5396 is the number to call. Why don't we go to Tom? Tom, you're next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Stretch. What do you think about this? Tom, are you there? We lost Tom. 257-5396. Let's go to Jim. Jim, you're next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Stretch Sanders. Go ahead, Jim. Did we lose Jim also? I think we lost Jim.
Come on, Jim.
702-257-5396, the number to call. Bruce, hopefully you are there. Thanks for calling in, Bruce. What's on your mind?
What's up, Bruce?
Hey, Brian Diddy. Hey, just real short and simple. I think a real simple way to get the majority of people away from the sidewalks and stuff would be if you just create some bed space, like just, some tents or shelter, and give them some porta-johns and maybe some, portable showers that we had.
All right. Fair enough.
And
Let's let Stretch respond to that. It's really, I apologize. It's really hard to hear you. It might have been an Obama phone. I'm not sure. But anyway.
So absolutely. So, yes, we're planning to shut down Fremont Street on MLK Day. Yes, it's called a Justice for the Poor March. Poor people organizing one revolution. And I believe that this is to give us to have the conversations of solutions. We can take old abandoned homes. You know how many abandoned properties, foreclosed homes we can take? You know how many nonprofits that need grant funding that we can pay them to run these properties? It can be done. Anything seems impossible till you get it done. As Nelson Mandela said, we need to change our mindsets and change the way we're viewing this issue and realize the person on the street, that's your concern. That's your obligation to help them. And if the city doesn't want to help, we'll help ourselves. But we will go where the money's at, and we're going to hurt them pockets, and we're going to affect business, and people will be late for work, and people will be aggravated because at the end of the day, those who are going to work and those who are opening business can go back home. So we're standing for those. And so, yes, if we got to inconvenience you for a couple of hours to make sure that those can live in peace and not be fined and given jail time, and we will do what we have to do the same way King did what he had to do, Medgar Evers, and all those freedom fighters did what they had to do so we can be free. The tradition continues. The struggle continues. As Nipsey Hussle will always say, the marathon continues.
Stretch, why are you indicated last segment that you were confident thousands would show up to this. What makes you so confident that you'll be able to move thousands of people to show up to this Fremont Street shutdown?
Well, the goal is 1,000. If that goal is not met, if there's 20 of us, the 20 going to shut it down. So I'm not confident that we will have any specific number.
But you think 20 people are going to shut down Fremont Street?
However, when I got arrested, it was 9 of us that got arrested. It could be done. If I got to get that by myself, I will.
Fair enough.
And so I'm not confident in any number. I'm asking all those who care about those. We all a paycheck, couple of paychecks, a few paychecks are being on the street. So we need to get back our compassion. And yes, we need to have solutions. And yes, we need to have a game plan. But the mayor and the city council, Cedric Creer, Michelle Fiora, Seaman, those who voted yes, need to be held accountable.
Right, so
and we will come at them individually and go to their events and protest their events and shut down their events until they overturn this ban. It ain't just going to be the protest. It's going to be every time they come to something, we're going to hold them accountable because you should not wage a war on the poor.
We don't have a lot of time left, and our phone lines are jammed, so I want to get to as many phone calls as I can. Let's go to Stephen. Stephen, you are next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Stretch. Go ahead.
Yeah, great. Hey, Stretch, you've got 21 now on your team. I completely agree with everything that you said.
Cool. Well, hey, you got somebody.
My man, Stephen.
Well, there's a lot of people that agree with you. I believe Kimberly is next on the Vegas Take. Kimberly, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, this is Kim Bailey Turow, and yes, I totally support Stretch. And I'm a native of Las Vegas. My father was Bob Bailey. When he arrived here in '55, it was segregation, and it's always been a concentration and a celebration for gaming in Las Vegas. And unfortunately, the locals have been forgotten. And it seems as though now in 2019, we're still are forgotten, and we are a collective. Some of the people that are homeless now on the street, they used to work in the casinos. They used to, or they got addicted to gaming.
Kimberly, we agree. We agree on that. But do you think Stretch is going about it the right way by closing down streets?
Yes, and yes, and I do believe because see, the onus was on the city council to do the right thing, do focus groups, go into the
Kimberly, you sound like a smart lady, Kimberly. So let me ask you a question.
So the thing is
hold on, Kimberly. Hang on, because we have a lot of other callers, but I do want to ask you a very important question. Do you think in society, if we disagree with something, because in society we disagree with a lot of different things, right? Do you think the right way to go about it, if we have a disagreement, is to shutting down businesses and shutting down street corners? Don't you think if we lived in a society like that, where everybody did what Stretch did, we would be in a lot of trouble?
No, I don't believe so. I do believe that Martin Luther King, his fight before he died was the war against the poor. So I do believe that the formula has already been made, and it's all about getting the attention, getting the issue to the table.
Okay.
If they didn't bring us to the table, we got to create the table ourselves.
I agree.
So
Okay,
I believe
listen.
in activism, and I believe in protest, and Vegas has a lot of work to do.
You're right, Kimberly, and I appreciate your passion, and I appreciate your phone call. Thank you very much. Let's go to Joe. Joe,
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you, Kimberly. Joe, you are next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Stretch. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing? I'm listening to what Stretch is saying, and something that hasn't been addressed is
those people are only threatened under arrest if there is room in a facility and they're not going to that. First of all, the facility will require you to live up to some sort of standard, and most of these people don't want to do that, which is why they don't go to the.
That's
to the
probably
facilities.
true.
They would much rather be free and doing drugs and shit, ruining people's front yards. What about the rights of the people who live at the houses that they're camping out in front of? Why should you have defecation and urine all over your walls?
Stretch, comment on that.
Somebody else can't pay their bills.
Joe, hang on the line. Stretch, go ahead and respond to that.
So I agree. I think that people with their homes definitely don't need to be defecating and bringing down property. But I also think that it goes back to the solution. Give them a toilet. Give them a bathroom. Give them somewhere to go. I think the reality is, yes, the clause is they only going to be arrested if the shelters are empty, but there's never empty shelters.
Okay, well, what about this?
So
Stretch?
it's never going to be. They're never going to have anywhere to go, which means they're going to go to jail.
What if you've got a shelter and it fits 2,000 homeless, and you've got 60 or 70 state-funded employees that are running it, because someone's got to watch. Someone has to make sure that there's order in the shelter. Is there access to alcohol? Is there access to gambling? Is there access to heroin? Is there access to drugs? What if you have a bunch of people that are coming down off heroin and they have a massive withdrawal, a bunch of withdrawal symptoms? How do you handle all that stuff? I mean, you're talking about putting them in different circumstances, and I agree there needs to be different circumstances. But are you going to take all the different things away from them that are probably keeping them homeless in those new circumstances?
Yeah, so it has to be a complete detox of diet, a detox of mind, everything.
I could use a
changed.
detox of diet.
And so absolutely. So you have to take them off the toxins. They need to have therapists. They need to have motivational coaches to empower their self-esteem.
I mean, you're talking hundreds and hundreds. If you're talking not just order, but also education, also rehab programs, you're talking hundreds, if not more than hundreds, of state employees that they're going to have to make sure that can take place, along with all the expenses that go along with the actual shelter or the barracks or whatever the building is itself.
Joe, do you have anything else you want to add? Because I know you've been waiting patiently there. Go ahead.
Yes, he has been saying that he's going to have people shutting down Fremont Street to stop people that actually have jobs that actually may be one paycheck away from being homeless themselves is completely irresponsible.
And that's a good point,
too.
too.
And I'll be out there to push these people out of the way. If you guys are going to try and block traffic, I'll be there fighting against you. I promise.
Well, we don't want to fight, Joe.
No, we don't want riots either.
Fighting by pushing them to get out of the way. If there's a
you can't really push somebody.
Well, Joe, let me say this, brother. I ain't that type of minister. So you push me, you getting pushed back.
Well,
so bring it.
Tell you what, we're going to have a
bring it,
conflict
baby.
Okay.
I will tell you this,
You
Joe.
can do that, Joe. I'm not that minister, baby. So
Hold on.
You come up there pushing me, you gonna get pushed back, brother.
Joe,
you can believe that, Jack.
Hold on. Joe, you're not condoning violence, are you?
I'm not condoning
Push is
violence.
violent.
Why should these people that don't want to work be stopping people that need to work?
Okay, I agree with you, but I wouldn't respond by saying I'm going to push you out of the way. That's condoning violence. Stretch is saying he would defend himself.
You're trying to get to work and there's a person standing in front of your car.
Well, they're going to get arrested.
It's a better way. Then let the authorities.
They get hit by a car because they're standing in the roadway.
It's not your place, brother. Let the authorities handle it. But you dealing with violence is not how it works. I'm just letting you know. Don't get the minister twisted, brother.
Okay, so why are you stopping me from making my money because your people don't want to make money themselves?
It's not my people. It's our people. We're a human family, and we have to fight for those who are poor.
All right, hold on. Let me interject here. Joe.
They choose to stay on the street, shit on the street, and drink alcohol and do drugs.
What do you mean your people? Please define. Joe, I'm partially on your side. I think it's an inconvenience, and I agree with you. But what do you mean when you refer to Stretch as your people?
Your people, the people that he is organizing to come out to stop regular, hardworking people from getting to work. Those are his people.
Fair enough, Joe. We appreciate your passion and your phone call.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Joe.
We do not condone violence here, and I think I think what Stretch was trying to say is, if you push me, I'm going to push you back in self-defense.
And Stretch is also 6'10", so
Stretch is a big man.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah. Stretch is a big man. All right, let's go to Steven. Steven, you're next on the Vegas Take. Go.
What's up, Steven?
Okay, don't go. 257-5396. Why don't we go to Lewis? Lewis, you are next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Stretch Sanders. Go ahead, Lewis.
Good morning, gentlemen. Mr. Stretch, I agree with you that these people need a place to live. I mean, everybody has tough luck and all that stuff. But I look at it this way. If you got class, you will find a way to get one of these rooms available. Now, what's happening is, half of the people homeless, which I experience every day, I see it every day, and I'm in the area of South Polaris Avenue, the 4200 block of South Polaris Avenue, They have completely homeless people living down here under these bridges. There's bridges here. They're living here. They have destroyed one building almost completely.
So what's the answer, Lewis?
They painted it to death. The cops chase them from this area over to a block away. They set up camp, and a month later they come back. Now they're right behind the building on the other side of the fence.
Okay, Lewis, we understand the homeless issue is a problem, but we're not talking about what homeless people do as far as inconveniencing you. We're talking about how to fix the problem. Let's go to Jimmy. Jimmy, you're next on the Vegas Take. Is it your opinion that go ahead, Jimmy? Go ahead.
Just a quick note: the preacher is starting to sound a little bit thuggish. Trying to intimidate the guy that he's going to do harm to him if he pushes him out of the way.
Let's Stretch defend himself on that. This man is saying you sound like a thug, Stretch.
No, he called you a creature.
No, he used the term thug. Go ahead,
brother,
Stretch.
If I come across thuggish, then that's the last brother's fault. I think at the end of the day, that brother said that he's going to be down there pushing us. Pushing is physical. And so my whole statement to that brother is, at the end of the day, don't get it twisted. I'm not that preacher who's finna turn the other cheek. And so I fight with those who fight with me. And so at the end of the day, I believe in certain circumstances, I will turn the other cheek, but you come out there pushing us out the way, that's not how you go about it. And so if you physically touch me, then you will be dealt with.
I am on your side, Stretch.
That's not a threat. That's a promise.
We only have 1 minute. We got to break. You know I always appreciate it when you come in. I also know. I know this because I think I know you pretty well by now. You've been doing okay. Your heart is in the right place. I know you want to help these people. We disagree on some things, but let me just defend you on one thing. When this gentleman says that he is going to push you out of the way, that is condoning violence. Make no mistake about it. You have a right to defend yourself when somebody puts their hands on you.
Now, if you're standing in the way and he asks you to move, are you going to move?
Well, no, then he gets arrested.
Because we have a goal at mind. So for those who don't agree with us, let those who will be out there deal with us accordingly. If you don't think we should be blocking traffic, the police will be waiting on us when we get there. Yeah. Let them do what they got to do. Don't you try to play hero and touch anybody, because if the tables was turned, I would not touch anybody.
Stretch.
Give us that same respect, whether you agree with it or not.
Stretch, we got to go. You know, I always appreciate it when you come in studio. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here, man.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate
it. All right, take a break. Be back right after this.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
The High Court, DACA, and guns. I'm Evan Haining. The Supreme Court heard arguments about DACA today, not to decide if the Dreamers program is legal, but to rule on whether President Trump's executive order rescinding the program was proper. Correspondent Joan Paskupik said the opinions held by a couple of judges on the left and a couple on the right were obvious, but Chief Justice John Roberts did not indicate which argument he favored.
The chief doesn't fully show his hand. And last term, at the end of the census case, we were all ready to say that he was siding with the Trump administration about the citizenship query. And indeed he was, but he changed his vote at the last minute.
However, correspondent Steve Kastenbaum reports the court did rule that relatives of the victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre may sue the maker of the weapon used to kill 20 children and 6 adults.
While Congress passed a law in 2005 that says gun manufacturers cannot be held liable when their products are used in a crime, it allows for exceptions pertaining to marketing. The Supreme Court justices ruled that the Sandy Hook families could proceed with their lawsuit against Remington in Connecticut's courts based on the exceptions in the law.
Televised hearings of the House's investigation into impeachment will begin tomorrow, but correspondent Bob Costantini reports acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney will ignore his subpoena.
The Chief of Staff has decided to simply abide by President Trump's directive that aides not cooperate with House impeachment investigations, including ignoring subpoenas. Mulvaney, a former House member, contemplated joining a lawsuit that is seeking quick court guidance on whether potential witnesses must honor a House subpoena, though it comes from a different branch of government.
A new report says America's elections are vulnerable to attack due to a lack of robust federal oversight of the private companies that manufacture voting systems. I'm Evan Haining.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report is paid for by Doctor-Patient Unity. Watch for slowing for the crash on the 95 northbound at Sunset. Also an accident 95 southbound at the Spaghetti Bowl. This is going to be on the transition ramp to southbound I-15. And an injury crash, police and fire at the scene at Flamingo at McLeod Drive. Also an injury crash at Durango, southbound at the 95. As surprise medical bills bankrupt Americans, Jackie Rosen stands with doctors to remove patients from billing disputes. She demands insurance companies pay their fair share and opposing their rate-setting proposal to cover less medical care. Tell Jackie Rosen thank you and keep fighting. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Blue Emu Lidocaine Cream and Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Cream both are deep penetrating and odor-free. Beat the pain 2 ways and live life. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
So there's this guy named Jordan, and he's a healthy guy. He's a dad of 6, and he works as a guide in Alaska. But then he goes to the doctor, and he's diagnosed with cancer, stage 4. And here's the thing. He had switched from medical insurance to MediShare, which is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry. So the question for Jordan and his wife Jenny was, is this really going to work?
Our medical bills exceeded $160,000. MediShare members shared all our bills.
And it was about more than just the money, too. This is a real community.
MediShare is a family, a group of people that stick with you through the hardest times of your life. I just don't know how I could have done it without MediShare.
It's so worth looking into. There's a reason this is growing so fast. If you want to find out more, here's a number for you. 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Does your child love math? Do they just love math so much that once they finish their homework, they want to work on extra math problems just for fun? Anyone? If you answered no, then you are not alone. While your child may not think math is important for their future, we know better. That's because Infinity the Math Institute offers the best math tutors in Las Vegas, produces the best results at the best prices for kids of all ages. Infinity the Math Institute does it all. Does your child need prep for the SATs? Right now, SAT preparation classes in November are just $15. Fractions, algebra, geometry, decimals, you name it. Plus, Infinity offers homeschool programs, free seminars for parents and students, and whether your child is transitioning from elementary school to middle school to high school, or preparing for college, Infinity can help. Classes are filling up. Call us now to find out more. 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777. You want the best results for your child? One call to Infinity can have a huge impact on your child's future. Call now. 768-1777. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you.
Join Coach Harvey Hyde and Chuck Hayes Saturday evenings from 9 to 10 p.m. for Trojan Football Report, presented by South Point Hotel and Casino, here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDWN, where Las Vegas comes to talk.
Are you ready for a whole new way of doing business? The Human Resources Game Changer is here. Hello, friends. Jim Nance letting you know that Insperity has put down roots in Las Vegas, bringing you a different kind of HR service. Human resource expertise, employee benefits, HR software. Insperity will redefine everything you thought you knew about an HR company. Get to know Insperity Vegas, because finally the HR Game Changer is here. Visit Insperity.com to find out more.
Are you drinking too much? Is that beer or two after work turning into 6 or 8? You know it's taking a toll on your liver and overall health, and it's probably already affecting your relationships and work performance. You have thought about quitting but don't want to attend those local meetings, and you know rehab is not for you.
I'm not an alcoholic. I just want to drink less.
Well, now there's a new way to get help cutting back on drinking without having to quit. Just get your life back. Life Back, that's Life BAC, is an online doctor-supervised prescription program with medication that totally removes or significantly reduces cravings in 92% of people. The program is discreet, easy to follow, and costs less per month than a drink a day. Plus, it comes with a free doctor consultation and 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to lifebac.com and join our program, or download the app today. Lifebac.com. Drink less. Live better. LifeBAC.com.
Hi, this is Harvey Blankfeld, host of Las Vegas Real Estate Now. We are saying farewell to Tuesdays at 9 a.m. and moving to Saturdays at 11 a.m. Please do tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and learn about real estate right here on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All
right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, so glad you could join us. Rolling out hour number 3. By the way, I'm going to have a giveaway in a few minutes here at the end of this segment to the Lee's Discount Liquor 17th Annual Wine Experience. Stay tuned for that. You know, let's change subjects here a little bit because I always like a little bit of comedy, a little bit of levity. And, you know, I watched some of these professional pranksters since I was in high school, right? I love some of these guys. Well, we got these guys called the Good Liars, okay? And they are professional pranksters. And something they did recently has gone viral. And to the anti-Trumpers out there, me being one of them, it's become very popular. They walk into a bookstore. And as you know, Don Jr.'s new book is called Triggered. He changed out all the book covers to Daddy, Please Love Me, replaced them, took pictures of it. It went viral. The guy joining me on the line right now is one of the two. Davron Stiefler and Jason Selvig are the duo that do these professional pranks. And Jason Selvig joins us right now on the line. Jason, thanks for coming on. How are you?
I'm for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So before we get to this actual Don Jr. prank you guys did, I want you to talk a little bit about some of these other political pranks that you've done. It's my understanding when Bill O'Reilly was fired, you held like a little vigil outside of Fox News. This is not the first time you went into the Trump Plaza or in New York City. Correct me if I'm wrong. And you put like a white T-shirt, like a KKK Klan type shirt, replacing the Trump shirts in there. Can you tell me a little bit about some of these other pranks that you've done?
Sure. We did a reverse shoplifting, I guess is what you could call it, in the Trump Tower, where we dropped off things that really, you know, said who Trump was more than like the golf shirts that they had in there. We had like a Trump brand remote control, a Trump brand white hood, which you're talking about there. And then, you know, people, you know, tried to buy them as well. There was postcards that said the first lady was Ivanka Trump. The stuff that Donald Trump really thinks.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. You're telling me people in the store wanted to buy these white Klan Trump shirts?
Well, I don't know if they actually tried to buy the hood, but they definitely tried to buy the postcard for sure.
How long have you been a professional prankster?
DeVrom and I have been doing this since 2011. We started during the Occupy Wall Street protests that were going on here in New York, and we posed as makers who were protesting the protest, and we called it Occupy Wall Street. And we kept protesting, then we'd have to give up our cocaine habit, lose our season Yankee tickets. And then real investment bankers came down and joined our cause. And we've been doing pranks like that ever since.
Wow. Okay, your phone's a little bit choppy there, but we can hear you now.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So you go into this bookstore. I want you to tell me where you got this idea. Don Jr., of course, has a new book out called Triggered. So take me through this prank. You know, you're walking into the store. Tell me, you know, from there on what happens.
Well, we didn't want this to be malicious, to be honest. We feel bad for Don Jr. Everything he does, he's trying to impress his dad. It's really sad to watch. He is marrying someone. His girlfriend is a Fox News correspondent who looks a lot like Melania. His dad basically, you know, has never publicly said great things about him.
That's true.
So we thought that maybe after Don saw this, he'd maybe give up on the dream of just trying to impress his dad and trying to live his own life. You know, it's a little bit like Logan Roy in
right. So
and Kendall Roy in Succession.
It was kind of motivational.
Yeah, exactly. We wanted to put a little fire under his belly. Right. I don't think it's worked.
You want to push him in the right direction.
All right. So Jason, continue with the story. Go ahead.
Sure. So we have the book covers, and we put them in. There was a display in the window actually of Barnes and Noble right on the street level in New York, and we put the books out there, and then put them in the young adult fiction section, which we thought was a little more fitting than the current event section where they were in.
And describe the cover that you replaced it with.
Sure, it's the same picture that Donald Jr. has on his book Triggered, and it says, "Daddy, please love me." Father. And we didn't change the picture because he looks so sad, like he's really begging for his father's love with his real book cover. We didn't have to change anything. We just kept it the same way.
So how did you make this cover?
Well, the magician never reveals his tricks, but it was very, very easy, and anyone could do it. And if anyone wants to reach out to us on Twitter, The Good Liars, we'll send you a book cover. We can send you the file, or we'll just send it to you at cost.
So what does Barnes & Noble do? I would imagine eventually somebody notices the prank. So what does Barnes & Noble do in that situation?
I'm not sure. We didn't do this to play a prank on the Barnes & Noble's workers. People who aren't making a ton of money and working hard at their jobs in retail. We've all worked retail before, so we weren't trying to prank them. We were trying to prank Don Jr. I assume that they just fixed the books, got rid of them, or probably took them home for themselves.
Well, what I'd like to know is, how do I get my hands on that Donald Trump KKK white hoodie that you were? But if you're just joining us, we are speaking with one of the guys from The Good Liars. They are a professional prankster crew. His name is Jason Selvig. It went absolutely viral when they switched out the book cover of the Triggered book by John Jr. with a cover that says, "Daddy, please love me." How many hits did you get on this? How many people actually saw this, do you think?
It was the #1 trending story on Apple News on Saturday. And our retweets were thousands upon thousands. But other people just found the picture and posted it themselves, which is totally fine. We'd love credit when we could get credit, but we understand with a picture, it's going to go viral anyway it goes.
Jason, did Donald Trump Jr. respond to this? Can you tell us, has there been any response from any of the higher-ups, including Don Jr.?
Haven't heard anything yet. We've had personal interactions with Donald Trump himself in the past, but never Donald Jr.
What type of personal interaction have you had with the president?
Well, when he was running, we did a movie called Undecided, which you can get on iTunes and Amazon and all that stuff, where in one scene in it, we were at a Trump rally, and we were playing Trump supporters. We were very close to him. We shook his hand, and we let him in cheer, basically. And then after a while, it got boring. Like, he keeps talking and talking and talking. So we let him know. We started yelling, "This is boring. This is boring. Tell some jokes. Entertain us." And it was maybe the first time I've seen him actually get hurt on camera, because the last thing he wants to do is be boring. So we were let out by security and roughed up a little bit. You can see that online. You can go to goodliars.com. You can see that.
So Trump is giving a speech, and you're there with your coworker, I guess you could say, Davram, right? And you guys are screaming at him, "This is boring. This is boring." And did he react to it at all? Like, what did he do?
At first, he paused and was like, "I couldn't have heard that correct." And we were very close to him, and it was a much more intimate rally. It's not like the big rallies you see now.
Sure.
And then, of course, he kicked us out. And after saying he loved us earlier in the rally, he was saying that we must have a drinking problem because we're yelling that he's boring.
Have you ever had any backlash from any of the political pranks you've done from the actual the prankies themselves?
Absolutely. We've been roughed up a little bit before in the past, and we actually were arrested one time, but it wasn't for making fun of the president or presidential candidate or even a news personality. It was because we tried to cancel SantaCon. You know what SantaCon is? It's like where a bunch of
like Comic-Con for Santa costumes, is that right?
No, I guess maybe it's a regional thing. It's basically like in New York, it's a bunch of people from New Jersey and Long Island come to New York, dress in Santa costumes, and get wasted and throw up all over the place.
We like that.
So it's like St. Patrick's Day for Santa Claus.
Yeah. Exactly. And everyone in the city hates it. So we tried to cancel it, and we got on a bullhorn. There started and told them to get on New Jersey Transit and Long Island Railroad, and SantaCon's canceled.
Jason, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of these other pranks you've done, particularly one video I saw, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. As you know, shamed Bill O'Reilly, who paid off all these women for alleged sexual misconduct. So when he was let go over at Fox News, you guys held a vigil right in front of the Fox News studios. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Sure. Wait, can I say the word that he the kind of vigil it was?
What is okay? Go ahead, and I guess if we have to put it on delay, we will. Go ahead.
Okay, great. No, it was called the Bill O'Reilly Douchebag Memorial.
Yeah, we can say that. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, good. Phew. So yeah, we got all sorts of items that Bill would have loved on the day he was fired. And we placed them in a vigil outside of Fox News under his picture. And it was items like a picture of a 1990s model that he would have really liked. Afterwards, we were like, oh, my gosh, we should have left falafel. That would have been so funny because of his famous...
Didn't you have like a pair of boxers? And like, what are the other stuff you had there at his vigil?
Yeah, we had a pair of boxers because he famously opens the door in his boxers. Gosh, I don't remember this because it was so long ago. You have to tell me what else we did.
It's very funny, though. I watched the video. It is hilarious. So when people say, oh, all you attack is people on the right, have you ever attacked people on the left, Hillary Clinton, maybe, so are you one-sided or do you attack both ways here?
No, we there's everything's pretty funny to us, left, right, center. There's always something to make fun of. During a Hillary Clinton rally, we were standing behind her with shirts that said "Settle for Hillary" on them, and that went viral. Her campaign was upset with us, and then and then we went to another rally, and we were shirtless at the rally, and they ended up putting us in a campaign ad for Hillary Clinton. So we were like,
really?
This is so bizarre. Yeah. And we made fun of Bill de Blasio this last year, the New York City mayor, who had a pathetically horrible run for president. We put up missing posters around New York City for Bill O'Reilly when he was in Iowa, and then we renamed City Hall Iowa in effort for him to come back and actually do his job.
Like, who are some of the pranksters that you grew up watching that you tried to model yourself after? Because there's been plenty before you. Are there people that you watched in high school that you looked up to and said, man, I want to do that?
Obviously, we love Sacha Baron Cohen.
Oh, he's the best.
Yep. And we grew up, watching comedy. We would stay up late and watch SNL during the 90s. And Norm Macdonald, the Weekend Update. But also we were both big fans of. Do you remember The State on MTV?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I love those guys and Stella. And obviously they're a little bit crazier, not political at all, but still kind of that silly sensibility kind of comes from those guys. Michael Showalter, David Wayne, Mike Black. Big fans of them.
Sure. So I have a request, okay? We will hang this up in our studio if we're allowed to. I would like to request a copy, or just the book cover, of Daddy Please Love Me. I would like you and your partner in crime to sign it to the Vegas Take. And JD, it's fair, right? Can we hang this up in our studio? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Is that a fair request, Jason? Can we make that happen?
That is a fair request, and we would even give it to you with a book attached to it.
Wow.
It won't be Don Jr.'s book, but we will sign it to you guys, Brian and JD.
I love it. Jason, you guys are absolutely hilarious. Regardless of whether you're attacking Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, I think what you guys are doing is very ballsy. It's very funny, and I hope you guys continue doing what you do because, in this state of politics and the divide that we have, we need more people like you. We need more people to have some fun and laugh at just the stupidity and the ignorance of some of our politicians out there, Jason. Before we let you go, I wanted to ask you, when are you guys coming to Las Vegas, man? We'd love to have you in studio.
Well, we might be out at some point in the next couple of months. maybe sometime around March or so.
We would love to have you come in studio in March, and we'd love to meet you guys. Before we let you go, how can people follow you, plug some of your stuff? How do people go on your website and buy some of your stuff and just support what you guys do? Go ahead and give out that information.
Sure. We've got a Patreon, which is patreon.com/thegoodliars. And if you join the $10 tier, we'll send you a copy of the Don Jr. book. You can also follow us on Twitter at The Good Liars, on Instagram at TGLNYC, and we're on Facebook too, The Good Liars.
I love it. Jason, keep up the good work, my man. We look forward to meeting you guys and you guys coming in studio in a few months. Thanks again for your time.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, GD.
All right.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jason.
His book, Daddy, Please Love Me, will be on shelves very soon at Barnes & Noble. Gosh, those guys are just absolutely hilarious. And look, don't you give me this crap. Oh, you just like him because he's making fun of Donald Trump. You just like him because he attacks our president. No. I think it's just as funny when he goes after Hillary Clinton or Democrats as well. And I am a big fan of Sacha Baron Cohen and Borat and all these other characters that he's played. And his show, Who is America, that was on Showtime, is brilliant comedy as far as I'm concerned. Why is it brilliant? Because we're laughing at the stupidity and the ignorance of people. Not just politicians, but just people in general that are dumb. I like to laugh at ignorance, and that's what these types of pranksters do, and I think it's great. Don't be so sensitive. It's funny. And by the way, he's right about everything he said about Don Jr. I have never heard Donald Trump say anything nice about Don Jr. He said a lot of things nice about his daughter, particularly her looks. He said some nice things about Eric. I've never heard him say anything nice about Don Jr., and he's absolutely right. Kimberly Guilfoyle prads around with Don Jr. like she's the mother, and he just wants his daddy's support so badly. So I think it would be I'm going to tell you something. I would have probably bought the book if the cover said, Daddy, Please Love Me, because it would have been the first time Don Jr. had ever been honest in his life. I would have bought the book. Okay, so I promised you guys I'd be doing a giveaway, and this is pretty cool. So rewarding you for being one of our listeners. Right now, why don't we take caller number 5? You're going to win a pair of Lee's Discount Liquor 17th Annual Wine Experience tickets. This features over 1,000 wines from around the world at the Thomas & Mack Center. This is Saturday, November 16th. I believe that's this Saturday from the Cal Air Cooling and Heating Prize Closet. Basically, what is this? It's pretty much an open bar. You're winning 2 tickets for an open bar this Saturday at the Thomas & Mack Center. Again, the number to call is 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Caller 5 right now. You are going to win a pair of tickets, once again, to the Lee's Discount Liquor 17th Annual Wine Experience. And again, this features over 1,000 wines from around the world. This will be at the Thomas & Mack Center this Saturday. Caller number 5 right now, 257-5396. Again, that number, 702-257-5396. The only thing is you have to be 21 or over. We're not giving away tickets so that you can drink underage, because then we would get into a little bit of trouble. I don't think management here would like that very much. So 257-5396 is the number to call, caller number 5. And we appreciate all your support of the show, and that's why we try to take care of our listeners whenever we can. So coming up next, we're going to have some very interesting audio to play for you. And it involves Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels decided to go into a little bit of a rap routine in going after President Donald Trump. It is kind of funny. So we're going to play that coming up next. Also, we have a lot of other things to go over as well. Some fans are suing Madonna in Las Vegas for showing up after midnight to do one of her shows. I believe that was at Caesars, if I'm not mistaken. They're suing her because she showed up a few hours late. Boy, if I could sue every single time a musician showed up late on stage, I would have a lot of money. We also have some time to go over the UNLV basketball game. UNLV is playing Cal on the road today, so we will preview that as well. What do you think? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about suing a musician for showing up a few hours late. I don't know how I feel about that. My thing is, if you support a musician that constantly does that, we all know Madonna is a weirdo. We all know that she's strange. Okay, we all know that she's a diva. But if you're going to go to a Madonna show, I think you should be able to get the money for your ticket back. I think Madonna shouldn't be paid to do the show. I do kind of agree with that. But I don't know if you can sue. Like, I don't understand. What are you suing for? Defamation? Like, I don't understand. What is the lawsuit for? You know, and by the way, she's sued by one fan. It's not like a bunch of fans decided to sue her. Yeah, she started her show late. It's true. She was supposed to be on a couple hours earlier. Perhaps some people lost a little bit of sleep, went to work the next day. Guess what? You had the choice to leave. I think they probably should have received money back for those shows. And if they didn't, then, that's an issue. I think it is the musician's responsibility to be on time. And if they're not on time, I think people should have the right to get money back for those tickets. That's what I personally believe. But I don't think you can sue Madonna. I think that maybe perhaps the venue can sue Madonna. That's certainly possible. If tickets are being refunded, that means the venue is losing money and you actually have damages. So I think Madonna should be sued for that. By the way, I think her shows today are kind of sucky. She talks more than she sings. I would not see Madonna. I would have certainly saw her 20 years ago, but I wouldn't see her today. That's just my opinion on that. All right, coming up next, you're not going to believe what Stormy Daniels did on stage, and it has nothing to do with taking her clothes off. I'll explain coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, K-Dawn.
Most people think all short-term lenders are the same, and for the most part, they're right. But those people have not discovered how quick, easy, safe, and inexpensive it is to get a signature loan at the DLC. At Dollar Loan Center, you can get a signature loan up to $5,000 in just minutes, and you don't need a checking account or collateral. It's easy to qualify, and you only pay interest for the time you have the loan out. That's different, way different. If you already have a loan at one of those payday companies, we can really help. Give us a call, and we'll show you how much you can save by borrowing from us and paying off your other loans. Spoiler alert, it's a lot of money, sometimes over half. We love to say yes, give credit line increases, and we report your positive history to your credit.
Licensed by the Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet the normal loan qualifications. To review loan qualifications, visit us at don'tbebroke.com. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
Parents, you always say you want what's best for your children. If that's the case, then you should be bringing your kid to Infinity, the Math Institute, where every student earns an A or B in math. Our results are proven and they are amazing. The best tutoring service for the best price, whether online or in person, small group or one-on-one. You cannot get better results. Great grades will come when your child truly understands the math. From elementary math to calculus, we have the best tutors, the best materials, and the best results. Now offering free parent seminars on how to better help your child, what is Common Core, and more. Find out why parents are bragging and students are enjoying school again by calling 702-768-1777. That's 702-768-1777 or visit themathinstitute.com today. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you, because at Infinity, you don't get more math problems, you get solutions.
The Supreme Court today heard arguments for and against the DACA program, which has allowed nearly 800,000 children brought to the U.S. illegally by their parents to remain in the country. The Trump administration wants to end the program. Democratic Congressman Jimmy Gomez wants it to continue.
Home is here for the DACA recipient who signed up to serve in the military. Home is here for the one that is going off to Harvard to try to become a doctor or become a lawyer to be able to represent their community.
Israel carried out a targeted killing this morning. Palestinian Islamic Jihad leader Baha Abu al-Atta. Correspondent Oren Lieberman says Israel considered him a ticking time bomb who was planning to carry out attacks on Israel within the coming days.
Following that, Islamic Jihad has since fired off some 200 rockets over the course of the day and now into the evening, and that in and of itself prompted an Israeli response.
On Wall Street, the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ are up. I'm Evan Haining.
Here's the latest from Newsmax. This report sponsored by the Broken Yoke Cafe in Town Square. Watch for slowing for the crash on the 95 northbound at Horizon Drive at the on-ramp, not blocking the through lanes. This is a ramp issue. And police and fire on scene for a crash. Injury sustained reported Spring Mountain Road west of Valley View Boulevard. Also an accident on North Main Street at Ogden Avenue. Broken Yoke Cafe near Town Square is open daily for breakfast, brunch, and lunch. Enjoy excellent portions, excellent quality, and excellent service. See why Broken Yoke Cafe is Vegas' new it spot. John Michaels from the K-Dawn Traffic Center.
We're running a health insurance survey right now, and here's a question to our listeners. Do you personally write the checks for your family's health insurance bill every month? Okay, are you frustrated because your health insurance premium is costing you as much or more than your mortgage? Buying health insurance is complicated, and U.S. Health Group's licensed agents can make it easy for you. They'll show you the best options for your needs, in person or on the phone. It's up to you, but you need to act now. You could have a new health coverage plan and start saving money next month. Don't wait. The call and the quote are free.
Call 800-519-5582. 800-519-5582. That's 800-519-5582.
Plans are underwritten by Freedom Life Insurance Company of America, Enterprise Life Insurance Company, or National Foundation Life Insurance Company. This coverage is not available in all states, and some exclusions or limitations may apply in your state.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. And we give you this toy monkey, which will bang its cymbals when the right resume appears. Okay, there is no monkey.
I said there is no monkey!
But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us rolling out on a Tuesday. JD, you've promoted some events in your time. Have you ever heard of Tyler, the Creator's Camp Flog Carnival?
No, I've heard of Tyler, the Creator. He's actually a very, very talented hip-hop artist. But Tyler, that Camp Flog Carnival is his personal music festival. So kind of like Post Malone's Posty Fest.
I'll be honest with you. I knew you've heard of him. I've never heard of him before.
I tried to book him before he was big for about $40K, and I couldn't get the deal done. But he's a very talented guy.
So anyway, last year he had Kanye West and a few others. And this year he had Drake and Stormy Daniels. That's an interesting duo, isn't it? Well, Drake was booed off the stage, but that's not the real story that's going on here. So we have audio of Stormy Daniels on stage. She is wearing, I guess, what a porn star would normally wear, or a stripper. She's wearing a very tight outfit, shorts. She's actually looking pretty good these days, I'll admit. I don't know if that's plastic surgery, whatever it is, but she's a pretty good she's pretty decent looking. Well, I disagree with Donald Trump calling her horse face.
Probably a personal trainer. I mean, she has the money to pay for one now.
She's looking
clearly.
She's looking pretty good these days. Anyway, so she's on stage after Drake is literally booed off the stage. She grabs the mic, and we'll just let the audio take it from here. This is Stormy Daniels in her own words, and we had to bleep some of these words out. Here it is.
My name is Stormy Daniels. And I am the reason that Donald Trump is
Wait. You Stormy Daniels.
I'm Stormy Daniels.
You the one that Donald Trump.
I wouldn't really call it.
No, you really Donald Trump, though.
No, I just laid there.
That's my favorite part. No, I just laid there.
Yeah, that's awful.
She did describe her sexual experience with Donald Trump. She does say that it was less than 2 minutes and that she just laid there like a dead fish and had unprotected sex with Donald Trump. Keep in mind, this was also a few months after Melania had Barron, and then she was paid a $120,000 hush money payment. But, so he sets a good example for the country. But anyway, what do you make of this, JD? What do you make of that audio? Do you find I actually find it a little bit funny.
How could you not find that funny? I find it funny too, Brian. But
are you being facetious?
What did she say? She said, I'm the reason that he's president of the United States. Is that what she said? I'm excited. There were so many F-bombs in there bleeped out that I really couldn't understand all of it. It was kind of tough to decipher.
What do you expect? She's a porn star. When she's having sex, she says that sort of stuff. So, I mean, what do you expect? I thought that was funny. I thought that was a funny moment. That's got to be embarrassing. Okay, In all seriousness, though, this whole situation with Stormy, if you're Melania Trump, this has to be embarrassing for you, right? This can't be good. You are the mother of the child. You know, your husband is Donald Trump, regardless of whether you're going to divorce him or not.
Hey, we don't know what their relationship is.
You think it's a good relationship?
We don't know if it's polyamorous. We don't know if it's an open relationship. We don't know if there's a backdoor contract signed where Trump has the right to sleep with other women.
Sure,
we really have no idea.
I'm pretty sure that Stormy
Brian.
Daniels has a backdoor contract, but we'll leave that one alone. But no, seriously, when it comes to this specific situation, I don't think they have an open relationship because if there was a man that actually had sex with Melania Trump, I would imagine that would be all over the tabloids and they would sell the story and make millions off it. Same thing with Donald Trump. So, no, I disagree with you. I don't think they have an open relationship. Maybe there's a small chance they did, but why would you pay somebody a $120,000 hush money payment, number one? And number two, you pick a porn star to have unprotected sex with?
The hush money payment wasn't to protect from his wife. I think it was to protect from the general public finding out that he was cheating on his wife,
which is why
4 months after he had a child.
Which is a big reason why Michael Cohen is behind bars. Michael Avenatti joined us on the show yesterday. And it's a big reason why many people believe that he broke campaign finance violations a week before the elections in regards to this hush money payment. Donald Trump was asked about that in an airplane. He said, "Hey, do you know anything about this payment?" He said no, because he's a liar.
So wait, I want to say the logistics of Tyler the Creator's Festival. Like I'm all for having a guest speaker and a special host, but what was she doing? Was that her set? Was it a 45-second set? I mean, was she a motivational speaker? Did she have some type of speech attached to it, or what was her relevance? Why was she there?
If she is a motivational speaker, what would she motivate? Women to become porn stars?
Exactly.
I mean, that's fine.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Listen, a friend of mine used to run one of the strip clubs here in Vegas, and after this whole thing went down last year, he made a payment to her to show up, show her boobs, and make a couple Trump jokes. And then that was it. She signed some autographs charging, I think, $100 for a photo, which is absurd, by the way. Not many people knew who she was before this Donald Trump thing. And if people did know who she was, they're into a lot of porn and they watch a lot of porn.
And then let's be honest, is Karen McDougal going on to Tyler the Creator's stage and making a spectacle of herself? Is Karen McDougal all over the news? Do people know who Karen McDougal's attorney is? No. Without Michael Avenatti, none of this is taking place.
Here's my problem.
Stormy Daniels owes Michael Avenatti the biggest apology.
Well, instead, she filed a lawsuit against him. Here's my problem with Stormy Daniels. I have no issue with her being in porn. I have no issue with porn. I have no issue with her trying to take advantage of this situation. Here's my problem with her. She calls herself a patriot. And a lady of the people, a Democrat who hates Donald Trump, all this stuff. If you're such a patriot, Stormy, then why did you try to peddle your story and sell your story? Why didn't you tell the world what happened, and why didn't you do it before the elections? Make no mistake about it. She tried to profit off of this. She's no patriot. She tried to make money off of this instead of doing what is right for the country. So make no mistake about it. Stormy Daniels is no patriot. She's a liar.
I think try is the wrong word. She definitely profited off of it, and she definitely made a lot of money.
But I wouldn't have had a problem with that if she was upfront and honest about it from the get-go. She tried to peddle and sell her story, and that's my issue. So Stormy is no patriot.
I have an issue regardless. She accepted $120,000 to not say anything. She signed a non-disclosure agreement, and she clearly broke that.
Well, the reason why she broke that, according to Michael Avenatti, at least, is because they broke it first. Michael Cohen broke it, and Donald Trump did not actually sign off on anything, and his name wasn't on the contract. So, listen, I don't want to get into the legalities of everything. All I know is that Stormy Daniels went after my mom on social media, and that really hurt my feelings because I'm sure my mom wouldn't appreciate the fact that a porn star who has unprotected sex
that did actually happen
with the president of the United States would go after my mother. So Stormy Daniels, I'm sure your mother is very happy with what you're doing because nothing spells class.
No doubt she's super happy.
Yeah, nothing spells class more than a woman who has unprotected sex with the president who was married at the time, and then you try to peddle your story and sell it. So, Stormy,
after breaking a non-disclosure agreement.
Stormy has a ton of credibility, Stormy. We wish you the best, Stormy. I wouldn't pay $1 to see you anywhere, naked or not, because I think you have no talent, and I think you are a liar with no credibility. Let me just leave it at that.
Props to Tyler the Creator for adding her to create a spectacle and grab some attention to the festival, because it definitely did that. So well
that's
done.
True. That's true. And her vocabulary. Stormy definitely knows how to say the F word. So congratulations there.
I counted 7.
Yeah, there were at least 7. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to break down UNLV basketball versus Cal tonight. But before we do that, a very interesting story involving our own producer, Jason Stein, and his behavior last night while going to a Buffalo Wild Wings attending Monday Night Football. We'll get to that as well coming up next. We'll explain what that means. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
Here's the latest from Newsmax. President Trump is surging in the polls, but Pelosi and Schiff still want to impeach him. What's really their agenda? Find out tonight on Newsmax TV's special Exposing the Witch Hunt Against Trump. See Pat Buchanan, Michelle Malkin, Bill O'Reilly, Alan Dershowitz, and more. Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on Newsmax TV. Newsmax TV is on DirecTV, Xfinity, Dish, Spectrum, Fios, Optimum, Uverse, Suddenlink, and more. Check your channel guide. Newsmax TV is real news for real people.
Hey, have you heard that ransomware attacks have increased by 500% this year?
Yeah, cybercriminals are targeting all types of businesses, encrypting their data and holding it hostage unless they pay up.
What if we're their next victim?
Don't worry, we have Barracuda to detect, prevent, and recover from ransomware and other advanced threats.
So we're secured?
Absolutely. We'll pay no ransom and keep this business up and running.
That's a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
All right, welcome back to Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, so glad you could join us wrapping up a very fun and entertaining Tuesday show. By the way, we are broadcasting live on YouTube. If you want to see our ugly bugs on there, on our YouTube Vegas Take page. If you missed anything, our interview with Amee Vanderpool, Stretch Sanders, I think we took about 800 calls in that hour. You can check it out. We will post it all on social media for you. So, and by the way, that audio of Stormy Daniels is up on our Twitter page as well. So last night, we decided to, myself, our producer Jason Stein, Chris Wynn, some friends of the show, Brian Feldman, we decided to go up to Buffalo Wild Wings and catch the Monday Night Football game. And it was a really good one. It was a great game last night between Seattle and the 49ers. So we show up at the bar, and I guess Buffalo Wild Wings had this really cool thing going where if you're a veteran, you got some free wings and fries, a very nice gesture on their part. So it was jam-packed in there in this Buffalo Wild Wings. So we walk in about 10 minutes, 5 minutes before the game, and there's really no spots to sit down. There's no tables. So I see there's one seat in front of a video poker machine. So we're waiting for a table, obviously. The game's starting in a few minutes. I'm there with Chris Wynn. He's standing right next to me, and I get a nice little cup of lemonade, ice-cold lemonade, and I'm sitting there, put $20 in a machine, and I'm having some fun. So our producer, Jason Stein, is behind me, and he's freaking out. He's going nuts. He's like, this is ridiculous. I cannot believe we can't get a table. This is nuts. Where's Brian Feldman? What are we doing here? Like, his anxiety is from a scale 1 to 10. It's 100, okay? So, Stein, I want you to take it from here. You left the bar for like 45 minutes. Explain to me why you did that. Why? Why did you leave us?
I was very uncomfortable. Again, I'm glad you brought that up, that you beelined it for the only seat in the bar. Brian is an extremely selfish individual.
Oh, please.
And on top
I'm
of
a
that,
diabetic. I needed to have some lemonade.
And on top of that, he's a video poker addict. But anyway.
Do I lose playing video poker?
Did you win?
That's
yes,
irrelevant.
I did.
How much?
A couple hundred.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He goes, he beelines it, he finds the one seat in the bar, orders a nice ice-cold lemonade. He's sitting there. He's got a seat. He's refreshed.
Hey.
He's watching the game. And I'm standing there like an idiot with Chris Wynn in the bar, jam-packed bar. I got my my laptop bag with me because I always do work whenever I go. And people are coming through the aisle and banging into me every 2 seconds. Excuse me. I can't sit and watch a game like that.
So you were
Plus, I'm hangry. Plus, Brian Feldman is 40 minutes late. Brian Feldman's our host. He's a guy who does a radio show. Does it from Buffalo Wild Wings, gives out some prizes. They give him his own special table, right? That table was set aside for Brian and his friends, right? The manager says, no, you can't sit at that table yet, not till Brian gets here. So, which I find ridiculous, right? So, yeah, my anxiety's through the roof. So my choice is sit there, watch King Brian sit there with his ice-cold lemonade, playing video poker in his nice comfy chair, getting banged into.
Yeah, probably next to a beautiful woman.
Getting knocked over, standing like a moron for an hour.
Right.
Or I'm going to go get some fresh air. Well, so I left the bar and I went for a walk. And I went to Kohl's.
One thing Brian always does is Brian always makes sure Brian is taken care of.
Absolutely.
He always does
always
that.
gets the best seat in the booth. Always sitting on the
Brian
the UNLV
is
basketball
taken care
game.
of.
He's got to sit on the aisle. He gets the best seat at the table. He's got to order first.
Shut up now.
He gets his own. He's got to get his drink first.
First of all, you are a complete crybaby, okay? You said King Brian with his glass of lemonade. Like, Like I did such a horrible thing for sitting down in a seat and ordering a drink. You could have ordered a drink, you crybaby, number one. Number two,
No seat.
You left. Chris Wynn was fine standing there watching the game with me. You cried and pouted like a baby. You left the bar and you walked to Kohl's. Who does that? You couldn't watch the game?
No.
Who does that? How about trying to talk to an attractive female? How about that?
The walls were closing in, man. And I was getting more and more angry by the moment watching you sit there in your throne.
All right, simple question.
I challenge you to get up out of that chair and stand there for an hour waiting for Feldman while I sit in the chair.
Wasn't an hour.
It was an hour.
All right, simple question. If you
now I'm getting mad just thinking about it.
All right.
My blood is boiling.
If there was a seat next to Brian and someone cut you in line to take that seat, would you consider shooting them in the head in that particular moment?
That's true,
that you
because
just described?
if JD doesn't know what we're talking about here, there's a reason why he said that. There was a story about the Popeye's chicken. A guy stabbed somebody to death that cut in front of line. Would you? That's a fair question.
No, what he's referring to is that I said someone cutting in line when I'm hungry, trying to get a chicken sandwich, I almost understand why you would want to kill somebody.
Right.
And that I might even have that vision myself. I wouldn't do it.
Well, you have problems.
Apparently, you see the theme here is I don't like people, I don't like crowds, I don't like being in public.
You sound like a very fun person to hang out with.
Also, I get very hangry. You can ask my wife. She knows I've had these kind of antics before because when I'm hungry and when I'm in public,
there's some positives.
It's a dangerous combination.
Is it possible that you're also diabetic?
Maybe I am diabetic.
Is it possible?
Have you looked into that?
Is it possible that you're also just effing nuts? Is that possible?
I should get a handicap placard for my car like you have.
And by the way, if a female even rubbed shoulders with you, that would be a positive. At least you got something out of it.
So we're going to call this
These weren't females.
This segment. We're going to call this neurotic Tuesdays.
Great
from 11:30 to noon.
big fat people with Seahawks jerseys banging into me with their beers.
It's true. Seattle people are ugly. That's
Ridiculous.
true. Some, not all. I don't want to get all the phone calls, but Seattle people are not the most attractive people in the world.
Well, there's just so much rain there, not enough sun.
It's very depressing.
Don't get enough sun.
All right. Chris Wynn is used to this. You know, Chris Wynn, he's like a happy, what do you call it, like a happy warrior, whatever you want to call him. Like he just goes with the flow. Chris can do it. He can be anywhere. He doesn't care. He's oblivious to everything.
Ask you a question.
As long as the TV's on, Chris is happy.
As long as he's got a beer.
But I'm very
and the TV's on.
but I'm very aware of my surroundings.
It's very hard to make Chris Wynn angry.
Exactly.
Jason, what
Exactly.
would have stopped you from just ordering a drink at the bar and acting like a normal human being? Why do you leave the bar?
I think it was normal to leave.
You're like a little woman. You're like a woman sometimes. You're so emotional. That's something that a date would do, or a girl that got upset. You know, it's
I got a disability. I got diabetes.
All right, hold on a second.
I'll just use that excuse for everything.
What's campaign say?
No, okay.
I can do whatever I want. I have diabetes.
Can you get up campaign for a second? So campaign, if you don't know who this gentleman is, he's going to make his debut here on the Vegas Take. Okay, so campaign is our videographer, so to speak.
But he also kind of has. He reminds me of the cook, the old cook in the movie Waiting.
No, but
he's very, very wise.
Okay, so I want an outside person that's been listening to this conversation. Do you think Jason Stein's antics are normal? Give me your opinion here.
First of all, I want everyone to understand the size of him as a man. Okay. He's a small man in stature. So,
how short is Jason Stein?
He is average man. He comes to your waist. So a lot of stuff.
No. That could be a positive for some people. I don't know.
I'm taller than Bridget the midget. I'll tell you that.
That's true.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. Let's hear the wisdom.
You guys have to understand. You know, like he is a smaller individual, and when people bump into him, the force and stuff, you know, he can't have a drink and just sit there. He gets bumped into it spills everywhere. He's not strong. He's not strong. He's a little man.
That's not it.
No, he's a little man. It's a little man. You're a little man.
I like where he's going with this.
You're a little man. Not saying anything bad about it. You're a little man.
Well, that's true. I'm short.
But if
I
one of your
disagree
friends
with the whole thing with people bumping into me.
Yeah, but Stein he's got a pretty solid base though. I don't think you just knock him over.
No, he looks like a dirty cop. I mean,
no, but he's got a thick lower body.
Wait, hold on a second.
He's got a solid foundation.
All right, hold on. Campaign. Why do you think Jason Stein looks like a dirty cop?
I just think that if anybody gets into any type of confrontation where there might be some physical stuff, even though he might have started it, he's going to call the cops.
Is that true, Jason?
No, I just plant evidence on him.
Exactly. Sprinkle some crack on them.
Yeah.
Campaign, be honest. What
So
would you do
some
if
level
you
of
were?
corruption.
What would you do if you were with some of your friends and you were hanging out at the bar? You were about ready to watch the game. It was a little busy in the restaurant, so you had to wait maybe 20 minutes for a table or whatever. Okay, it wasn't an hour, so don't lie. But what would you do if one of your friends threw a hissy fit and said, "That's it," and just walked out and was nowhere to be found for 45 minutes? What would you say to that friend?
First of all, I don't really hang with everybody that I hang with. They have a lot of testosterone. You know what I'm saying? Like we're so the estrogen that he had flowing through his veins at that moment.
Estrogen.
You know what I'm saying? I just can't really relate. Like,
you know what?
You got everyone laughing. Everyone's laughing at me.
No,
I hope they're happy.
I don't have an issue with it at all. And now, what did you do at Kohl's? Did you did you make any purchases? Did you just kind of walk around aimlessly?
Walked around.
You just walked around.
I tried on some shoes, some sneakers.
Okay.
And looked at some apparel.
So he comes back, campaign.
Christmas is right around the corner.
He comes back.
Yeah, that's
we're
reasonable.
We're already midway into the first quarter. He comes back. I see my phone blow. Did you guys get a table yet? I didn't respond to him. I refused
and see,
to.
I think that's messed up.
I didn't respond.
Clearly, your friend is rattled.
Yes.
He's so rattled.
Yes.
He leaves a public place and goes somewhere else, and you can't give him the affirmation that he's got a place to sit
because he was acting
and get a drink.
He was acting like a 10-year-old girl. Why would I respond?
You rub it in his face.
Well, I think everybody has to understand when you go out with people, you have to understand their shortcomings and stuff like this. Like, it's actually your fault, Brian.
Is it my fault?
For not having it prepared. You know he's going to his estrogen level is higher than most men. So
you need to be aware of these.
So there's going to be some female tendencies.
Not only that.
So how can I prepare? What could I have done differently, campaign? Tell me.
When you go out with him, act like it's a female on a date. So make sure that there's a table and stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking about, like, just make sure he's taking care of.
Hold the door for him.
I told you, the thing that put me over the edge was him sitting in that chair playing video poker with a drink.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
You next time, I'm going to challenge you. Okay, I'm going to challenge you. We're going to go back there next week. It's going to be crowded again on Monday Night Football. Right? You stand in the bar and I'll sit in the chair for 1 hour.
You don't play video poker.
Let's see.
You don't
We'll see how your temperament is after an hour.
Here's the problem with that. Then Brian might pass out if he doesn't have a lemonade because if his blood sugar
He can have a lemonade.
Let me tell you something. When you go to you guys are wrong.
Here's the issue. You did not court Jason Stein properly.
Stop.
If this was in Milwaukee, if this is where he's from, and you were at a Buffalo Wild Wings in Milwaukee that
Woodseyville, that's where he's from.
That he had some familiarity with that you didn't have familiarity
Here's
with.
where all of
and
you are
he
wrong.
put you in that situation, and you walked to Kohl's for 60 minutes because you were 45 minutes because you were so angry, and then you texted him and he didn't even tell you there was a seat. That'd be a problem. The problem is he's not from Vegas. He doesn't know the terrain
you're
like
only
you do.
saying that and defending him because you would do the exact same thing because you're a weirdo also. You would do the same thing.
I would do what?
Nothing weird about it.
You're weird in social situations too.
What would I do?
You are extremely strange in some social situations
You think I would walk to Kohl's and walk around aimlessly?
No, but you would pout and sit there angry and not say one word to somebody for 3 hours. I know exactly how you are.
First of all, I'd have about $2,000 on the game, and if the game was started, I would watch the game. And I would, I would be totally oblivious to what's going on around me.
Okay, this is something you are ignorant. You don't understand this to this situation, okay? When you sit at a video poker machine, there's a sign there usually that says, for players only. If you lose $5, it's like to the average person lost a paycheck, okay?
He could have played
you are not
25
going to put $1 in that machine. You're not going to give them any business. If I say to the manager, excuse me, sir or ma'am, this person isn't playing the video poker machine.
That's actually a valid point.
I have the right to sit there, so screw you.
Next time you have to be prepared to put about $10 to $20 in the machine, Stein.
Now, if he did that, then that's fair. That's fair game. He refuses to put money in a machine.
Let's say I wanted to play video
have
poker.
The experience.
He would have squeezed ahead of me and sat in that chair because he's like a locust. He just beelines it right to that video poker machine.
I'll tell you what he would have done. He would have watched you. Say you had $50. Say you put in $50. And you lost all your $50, he would watch you lose the $50. He would take over your machine because he knows machines eventually pay out. He would increase the bets to $2 a hand, and he would win 800, and then he would rub it in your face.
He's a weasel.
That's very true.
Guy's a weasel.
Let's let the man of wisdom speak. Campaign, go ahead.
I'm just going to say for future reference, just the conversation alone and stuff, and what happened and stuff, and him taking off. I just see a female doing that. If you put some heels on them, that's what a female does. I'm mad.
Thank you, campaign.
You know, I'm just saying.
Thank you,
No,
campaign.
wait, hold on. But Stein, you're a good dude. Not saying that. I'm
You're a
just
good
saying
girl.
that.
You're a good girl.
But Brian has to understand that. Like you have expectations.
So should I open the door for him when we get out of a car? And should I hold doors open and put the chair out for him and give him roses?
It would be nice.
No, that's ridiculous. I'm not attracted to him. He's disgusting. I'm not
but
do that.
you have to get him out of his car seat. He's little.
All right. How much time do we have left? We have to talk about UNLV hoops.
Jason definitely does not want to continue. Campaign, thank you for your wisdom.
No problem.
This needs to be a segment every day. We need the wisdom from Campaign. We need that.
Wisdom.
Yes, that's
called me a girl. That's wisdom.
Here's what we can do. We can do Wise Wednesdays.
Said you had a lot of estrogen.
We can have a 20-minute segment every Wednesday. Wise Wednesdays with Campaign.
All right.
But today's Tuesday.
So since we're going to talk about basketball now, Stein, you're out of the equation because you have way too much estrogen in your body. Let's talk a little UNLV hoops and Cal. Stein, you're a good guy. Don't worry. I'll invite you out again. Don't be upset. See, now he's going to be upset with me for the rest of the day. You made me sound like an idiot. I sounded like a girl.
You put it on yourself,
Now he's
Brian.
going to be all upset. He's going to pout around and say, I'm never coming in the studio again. All right, so UNLV on the road against Cal today. I know Cal's not a very good team. They are favored by 3.5, depending on where you shop and where you go to. This is UNLV's first road game. JD, how do you see this one playing out?
The line is 3.5, like you said. Cal is about as not deep as UNLV is. This is a really tough one, man. Cal's they shoot the ball well from three, but they didn't really play anybody in their first game.
They played Pepperdine.
Yeah, that's not a good.
They won
team.
by like 15 or something.
Yeah. I mean, so you got to take into consideration when I handicap a game like this. I think UNLV is actually going to win this game outright. I know you took Cal. I think that UNLV has better athletes at guard. I think Jong. I really believe that Jong is a difference maker defensively, as well as Donnie Tillman. Cal's team is not going to be as tough inside against UNLV, and I think UNLV actually wins this game outright. Brian,
really?
This is the third game of the season. My handicap is going to be very, very limited. I'm not going to have enough because when I handicap games, I like to have a lot of information available to me to do so, and I'm pretty accurate when I have that. But in this situation, I don't really have that. I really like TJ Ottsberger as a coach. I like this defense. They were up by 6 on Kansas State. And we talked about this yesterday, but Kansas State was a top 10 team last year, granted with Dean Wayne and Barry Brown.
Different team this year.
But Bruce Weber's still a good coach. I prefer him over any coach Cal has.
I don't think Bruce Weber's a great coach.
I would say he's definitely a good coach.
I think he's okay.
He's taken he went to the Final Four twice with Illinois.
He's also had a lot of talent with some of those teams.
Okay, but so does Cal. There's 52 million people in California, and Cal is the state school.
Well, here's my feeling on this game. I think they're pretty evenly matched teams. I agree with you that UNLV has the better athletes, but I'm not sure how some of these guys are going to react on the road in a hostile environment, and that's why I'm not going with the spread, but I do think Cal wins this game. I do expect it to be a close game, but I think Cal edges it out.
Yeah, this is a game I would never make a big bet on. This would be, say my standard bet is $1,500. I'd bet $200 on this game.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
1/7, maybe 1/6.
The game is
of
a
my
little
standard wager.
The game is a little bit unpredictable. I agree with you on that one. So again, we'll talk a little UNLV hoops tomorrow. See how this thing goes. Also, we have the Vegas Golden Knights tomorrow. They have a home game. They haven't been home in a little while. They've been struggling.
See, I'll tell you about this, man. I'm probably 80% in hockey this year. I'm having a huge hockey season. Almost every single game I've lost has been me betting the Knights and them losing the lead in the third period. This team is not for real right now. They just are not.
We'll talk a little Knights tomorrow. We'll continue that conversation. By the way, check out our Twitter page at The Vegas Take, and also our YouTube page, The Vegas Take, as well. I appreciate all the calls and appreciate Stretch Sanders and appreciate Amee Vanderpool for joining us and the Good Liars as well. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
Kilmeade, Hannity, Levin, 101.5 FM, 720